voice, and I'm so thrilled to be back on your screen once again for the ultimate memes and beams, but that's not without our wonderful casters. So let me roll out the red carpet once again.
Oh, rickety, right. Let's get down to it.
We're back in the regional finals. Is it just me, or do you feel like this split has gone very, very fast?
It has been quick. I mean, the days have been basically back-to-back. It's been non-stop action, but none of it.
Aren't they always back-to-back, though?
Today in the regional finals.
I know. I'm just sitting here getting super excited for everything to go down. And of
like not
course,
to be that guy, right?
We have had some epic weeks of Apex Legends, and we are finally here in the finals. I just feel like, Elfish, like, you're our throwback king. Hopefully you're a little bit locked in for today.
Oh, I'm always locked in, you know, there's no doubt about that one. But I'm kind of just wondering, are we going to get to the point where, you know, we have another insanely long day like we had last time? I can't even remember how many, was it 11 games? Something like that. But pretty ridiculous. Are we going to get that today? Well, I don't know. I mean, Legends have kind of been dominating this season, and so there's every possibility they just sort of do it in 3 or 4, and we're like, all right, well, we'll just get out of here after 6.
Yeah, I think it was around 10, 11. So, you know, hopefully we're not like APAC-South with 13 games. But, you know, we're going to jump in and tell you all about our schedule, because we've had 5 weeks of tantalizing Pro League here. And today is the day that we finally find out which teams secure their spot at LAN. So let's take a look at, you know, I guess exactly how everything's going to work here. We've reached the regional finals here in APAC-South. You know, things are heating up a little bit for us. So teams will need to compete.
All right, we got a match point today. We're going to be hanging on mostly with the
goal is to reach
broadcast
50
chat.
points.
Our usual
so once
thing.
a team reaches 50 points, they will become match point eligible. The first match point eligible team will be declared the winner. But, you know, Gino, that's kind of easier said than done, right?
Yep, there's only one team out of 20 that's going to do it, Lace. So, yeah, that's not great odds for any of these teams. And, you know, looking in the past, we have had teams who have been dominating APAC-South just run away with it in the regional finals, right? You know, Moist doing it a couple of times.
True.
You know, it's been rare that you get one of those underdogs coming up. But we did see that last night in APAC-North, right? When you get into a situation where you go 13 games, you got 16 teams on match
That was
point.
crazy,
All of a
though.
sudden,
16
anyone,
teams,
can
brother.
be the ones walking away with that win.
APAC-North really taking things a little bit crazy for us. I remember they won it in 4, and then we had to change it to 6 games. You have to play 6. So, you know, they're always paving the way for us. But at the end of the day, what are these teams playing for? But it's, of course, to make it to LAN, which I dare say is in Mannheim, Germany, which is really exciting. But, of course, let's take a look at the dollary dues. $125,000 spread across our teams. You know, they get their chance at LAN, but they also get $20,000 all the way to, you know, the 21st to the 30th place, which is 1,500. So, you know what, there's money spread around, there's exciting stuff to happen as well. But, you know, after an incredible split, we are looking to send through 7 teams to the playoffs. One team has already locked themselves in, though,
Why are we looking at this scoreboard?
Which we'll go through shortly. But, you know, we did have to say goodbye to about 10 teams as well. So a little bit tough there, but these are our top 20 teams, Elfish.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 1 or 2 names kind of missing out there. I think the most notable probably was Virtus Pro, that we would have maybe not expected to be unable to make it through to this lobby. But generally speaking, I think we've got the vast majority of those sort of top name teams that did manage to come through to the regional finals. And it is interesting, and I guess we'll talk about this more as we go through this pre-show, but, you know, we do have a bit of like a bit of a split between like those top sort of leading teams and
top 7
the teams that are kind of trying to catch up to them. And if we talk about the fact that 7 teams are going to be able to go through to the playoffs, obviously, we look at the scoreboard here, and if you just cast your eyes along those top 7 and go from 7 to 8, then there actually ends up being that little gap. Like, it's not a massive jump between Dreamfire and MDY, but
it's enough,
actually a bit of a buffer zone for those top 7. Obviously,
it's enough where if
teams
those
like Legends and Makers,
teams
they're far and away buffered. But, you know, even down
like
to Dreamfire,
two,
you sort of go, okay, there's like a significant drop-off after Dreamfire into the rest of the pack, who, you know, kind of have to make that little bit of an excess jump today and hope that maybe someone like Dreamfire, for example, has a little bit of a falter that they can overcome that points deficit. So a little bit of extra work to do for probably positions 8 to 20. But, you know, for the most part, it is sort of anybody's guess as to who can really walk away with those positions today, especially knowing that it is that match point format. Realistically, even GK can make it.
Yeah, I guess, Gino, we're a little bit worried for GK Esports. You know, they haven't really been totally performing the way that we've seen them in this split, but they just managed to sort of push through into the crutch in the top 20, but a little bit crazy versus Pro.
What up, Silver? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, that one's been said. Obviously, but, you know, that's right. We've dealt with a lot of that grief over the last week. And now
S1 of a bullet 573 has been a QT in the community for 39 months. What a legend. Velp almost 40 months, my guy.
What up, Silver? Happy almost 40 months. Well, almost 40 months. Let's
if you
fucking
got
get
the
it,
first
bro.
pick, you'd also get the 40th pick, but we are
On
giving
hippie
the
calories.
advantage
Hell yeah, I
to
love
the
it, love
highest
it.
seeded teams coming into our regional finals. And that means if you got the first pick in this one, you also get the 21st pick. And if you get the 20th pick, then you also get the 40th pick. So it's pretty hard for a team like GK. But you will see, you know, even in this draft, they've done okay getting down Beast, and I believe it was Big Maud as well over on World's Edge.
Why isn't...
But, you know, we were talking about some of the winners and the losers out of this draft. I think Heroes did really well getting
Vertical.
Barrow South here in Storm Point. They've ended up in an interesting position.
Allowing me
The one that surprised me, of course, was that Legends didn't take Cito as first pick. As you can see, that's gone to VK Gaming. Because on a day when it's all about winning, they've won 4 out of the 9 games they played. From
we are watching the APAC-South regional finals here.
Yeah, I guess
for
I was a little
ALGS.
bit curious about Legends Gaming choice at the wall as well, Genome. But, you know, that's one of our teams that kind of have that, you know, golden ticket through to land. So, like,
so 7
Elfish or
spots
Genome,
are on the line. Well, technically 7 spots are on the line, but it's still running
change something and play a little
leaderboards
different
from the
in,
rest of
the hopes to
the-
go to the land or something like that, Elfish.
From the rest
Yeah,
of
definitely. I
the
mean, there's a possibility, right? Like it was
season?
that you guys were talking about, you know, when
Here,
you were
actually,
doing
we'll slide this down,
that
show
PI
you what I mean.
pre-show, that they may not necessarily get what they want when they go
So
to
in
land, so they
APAC-South,
might
they
just
get
try
7
to sort of play around with things a little bit here when they know that they're quite safe to make it through
top 7
regardless.
teams qualified.
And see if they
POI,
can get a bit
yeah.
of
So
experience
now in
some different
Apex
locations,
Legends,
some
you
different
don't drop from the
rotations
drop
and
ship
stuff like that.
we-
I don't think that that's
we used to, where
necessarily a
you
bad
get to
shout,
kind
but
of go
also
from
in saying that, like
the
you
middle
know,
of
you're
the year
potentially
to,
leaving
like,
money on
land
the
on a
table if,
specific
for
spot. Now
example,
you actually pick a
something happens
a
today where
specific
Makers,
POI,
you know,
like,
is able to overtake them,
to actually drop
which I
in
believe
at.
is
So there's no
you know, the only
contesting
team that could
anymore, which
possibly
kinda
overtake them. And
sucks,
realistically,
but-
it would have to be a horrible day for Legends. So you know, maybe that's like grasping at straws in reality, but I don't know. I guess the only option really is that Legends, they want to just try and do something.
I was gonna say Legends is already
Right,
in.
well, I was going to ask you guys how's it going to go. Like, is Legends going to do it in 7? But we're going to get started, guys,
But,
because the game is ready to go. This
so
is the
today's
regional
points
finals
throughout
for
the day, 'cause it's 20
APAC-South.
teams playing, so
let's
it's
head
GK
on
Esports
over
and on up.
see our teams dominate.
The team points
And
today
number
still count.
Yeah, well,
towards-
I mean, I guess we can answer that one, Gino, because generally speaking,
Holy
we don't
shit,
get
it got loud.
super crazy early games here in APAC-South anymore. And just from a quick, brief look on the map myself, I'm not seeing too many contests or anyone really running at one another, which is fair enough. And I guess to answer the question, like,
yeah, and
for
then
me,
you also no
I feel
longer
like there's
have
obviously
like
very,
teams getting eliminated due
you know,
to
plenty
like,
of
oh,
options,
they got
let's
a
just say,
purple
as
fucking
far as you
shield
could potentially pick here to
and
say,
an
oh, I want
R3. Well, not maybe
to
not
expect
R301
this team
because
to kind of
R301's
take away,
garbage these days.
dub overall,
They got a
but,
purple
you know, I've
shield
gone
and a
for Weibo.
Havoc,
I think
and I
that's a bit
landed
of
on
an
a
outside shot.
fucking.
I said Weibo in 3.
I don't even land on a shield. I got
R45.
RV45. You know what I mean?
In reality, you know, I do think that they are the kind of team that could turn it on. I'm not really going to say, look, let's be real. I'm not going to say they're going to do it in 3.
Oh, a South ending on Storm
I think if
Point.
they're the,
Ooh, what a
if they're the kind
fucking
of team
thought.
that is going to have a
Definitely
day
not
like
me.
they do sometimes, they could definitely win in like maybe 4 or 5 games, 6 games, something like that. So
Question
I
is,
think
does
that's
this
a
pull
possibility
all the
for
way
sure.
out to Cenote, or does this possibly end on the
if they
bridge? I think this
play
ends
their
maybe on the bridge
absolute
more out here.
best, then, yeah, they've shown that they can be the team that comes out and absolutely
I feel like from this,
trounces
I feel like
them
we've
and
seen
puts
this
up record
zone before.
numbers as far as kill points go. So yeah, I mean, they've been better in the second half of the season than they didn't at the start, and that's important because as we've just seen with a couple of these team comps coming out, Elfish, things have changed, right? What we're seeing here in the regional final is definitely not what we
So how
saw
you been,
at the
Silver?
start
What you
of
been
the
up to, big
season.
dog?
The meta has
How was
opened
your
up a
4th
lot.
of
Honestly,
July?
it's been really refreshing. We're not getting 100% bang, 100% flood. We are getting a lot of fun looking across the board. There's multiple scan characters, recon characters. You've got Seer being played. You've got Crypto being played. You've also still got a little bit of Bloodhound occasionally. And then you've also, you know, we're seeing Vantage for the very first time. You can consider Vantage as part of the competitive Apex Legends meta.
Vantage is pickable, apparently. We've also got a Caustic and a Valkyrie in there as well. Caustic, Valkyrie, Bangalore from Remarkable.
What is this
team.
balancing
Don't
of
half
audio?
mind that one at all. But, you
Like,
know, I
Elfish
think the
is
other thing
so
that we do have
much
to talk
louder
about
than
as well
everybody
is
else.
not just like composition changes, but team changes as well, right? Guild,
Yeah.
that's the big one, obviously, with MT
That's
being
right.
in.
We'll just bite
and
through it.
So to round things out for the for the regional finals, you know, you make a roster change. That's quite.
One thing I do gotta say is I miss having a couple of contests early, isn't it? Like the storytelling is a little bit slower.
He's qualified for quite a few lands now, and you know he hasn't necessarily got to attend all of them with these roster change coming through. Obviously, Serenity, as they were in the regional, in the Split 1 playoffs, had a very good result for a team's first crack at LAN. I think it was a 12th place they picked up, right? That's phenomenal. So to get dropped in that sort of situation is so tough. So my heart goes out to Bugi, who's obviously played pretty well throughout the season, leading Guild to the spot that they are now. But that's it. Yeah, having an opportunity to pick up MT, like, I don't know if can really pass that up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree at all. I think it's not a bad change.
Yeah,
personally, I think things were not really going so well, so hot for Guild. So you can question the timing change. I think that's fair, but as far as the change itself is concerned, I would tend to agree with you that it is hard to pass up the opportunity to get MT in, someone with a lot of experience and a track record of doing very, very well in this region. So I'll give it the credit where it's due, but I suppose we have to just wait and see how it plays out, right? Like, yeah, you can sort of theorize about it and talk about it on paper or want, but at the end of the day, how is it going to perform in the server is really what's going to matter today. And for Guild in particular, it's probably a case of win the day or don't go to LAN. So they've got a lot of work to do today.
I mean, yeah, like MT just finished his best placing ever at LAN, 4th place. And obviously, Split 2 with Mist was not so great. That's one of the reasons why they parted ways with him. But if you're looking at what that man's capable of, it's something pretty significant. So, we'll see, you know, how he does on the Seer. Ooh. It's like trying to play a risky spot underneath here.
Yeah, and I think you should mention as well, Dreamfire's already been eliminated. So that was the team that was sitting on that 7th place cutoff cusp. And to not start the day very well, it is going to mean the rest of the teams in the league are going to be sort of licking their lips, looking at that, rubbing their hands together. They're thinking, okay, already Dreamfire is in a bit of a precarious spot. That obviously makes it a lot easier for us to maybe nab that set place. So we really do need to keep quite a keen eye on Dreamfire for the moment, but obviously Guild and Warmonster Firebird as well is going to be a conversation as those two teams do start to crack off one another. Shark is down for the moment, but doesn't look to be under too much pressure, so the res may be doable.
BCG here on the 3rd, though, have Guild realized it? They looked like they were pushing forward to try and take down Warmonster Firebird, but I think they have now realized and respected the fact that BCG are on the other side of this. Guild do get a second to get that res, get that reset, and now it's really Warmonster Firebird here who are in a spot of trouble.
Yeah, Shark still hasn't been picked up, and I dare say at this point maybe that's not going to happen. The timing might have been there a little bit earlier on. Good shots back though. Demo goes down. So Bearclaw Gaming, they've been a little more than they can chew. You really don't want to be dropping any members in a
Guild's
situation
already
like
in a fight
this,
off the camera,
it's really
though.
tough to get the res. You're really like in the center of the zone. Teams are going to be rotating in this direction. Teams are going to be looking in this direction. And yeah, well, Warmonster Firebird do get eliminated, so they're out of the picture here, but it's still going to be a bit of a mess under that bridge.
Yeah, I think they either needed to full send Guild and just try and take advantage of the fact that, you know, they got that first knock. It probably would have been hard because of all the defense that Guild had set up there.
I can't tell if it's my end or if it's through the actual feed, man, but every once in a while I keep getting chops on.
You can see they're not necessarily out of harm's way, and Guild, wow, will join
Guild out early.
Fire and Warmonster Firebird in the grave for game number 1.
I mean, I feel
very
like
nicely timed push from Las Vegas Inferno. I mean, they were sitting in that golden, that orange, I should say, that you can see that they're looking at. AFO's looking at right now. They were sitting in that whole little skirmish between the other teams. And they were
where they could get in trouble is if Dreamfire has a 2-point better day than them, and then if one of those teams who isn't top 7,
down, and then if they were to win match point, back off, and it was. That point, just
I cannot deal with the fact that Elfish is literally so much louder than everybody else. I can see it on my
have a bit of a crack at this and
on my audio mixer, and it drives me crazy.
A couple of free points. So very good start to the day for a team that has, to an extent, kind of flown under the radar a little bit. I think they're always one of those teams that's kind of kicking around, but you never really see like massive stuff from. But then again, you know, like there's no better time to peak than now. So if you've got a big day ready under your belt, today is the day to pull it out, and that was already quite a good positive start for Las Vegas Inferno.
VK Gaming, I should say, have been one of the better teams this split. They are really coming into their own as the split ends. as far as the season standings go, they look like they're, you know, all but locked in for LAN here. They would have to have some serious stuff going the wrong way here for them to not make it to Mannheim at this point.
I'm trying to think about how many teams I would consider safe,
awesome
and I would probably
really
say top 5.
The Crypto, so another team who's had
I'm even half tempted to say top 6.
Just to try and adapt to this new XMY, another team who is looking.
The only reason I would say all 7 is because anybody could really win.
Mannheim as first-time LAN representees of APAC
match point format.
Man, on the point of Crypto, there was
lobby, technically, you know,
a lot of those getting picked up in APAC North. Don't know that we're quite going to get as many here in APAC South, but it's cool to see a little bit of that variety coming back. I mean, obviously, Sia coming into that sort of bloodhound role in a lot of compositions and a lot of teams. They just happen to go, okay, we're going to take the like-for-like replacement and swap the blood out for the Seer. And that maybe doesn't drastically change things up as much as perhaps some of the other composition changes.
X and Y still staying with the
really
Bang Blood.
A conversation for the teams themselves, how they're comfortable, and maybe what kind of legends each player is happy to be playing or looking to
I really don't think Blood gives you that much like value right now.
Argument to be made that, you know, you should be adapting to the meta and whatnot, but if we're in this sort of wishy-washy state where a meta hasn't really been 100% locked down yet, yeah, maybe it is better to just sort of default back to, okay, yeah, I am comfortable playing the Crypto. This is a legend that I really like. You know, maybe we can make that work, and perhaps that's the conversation for Bear, right? They've even got a Wraith in here as well. Like, so that's just not something that many teams, I'm sure, are going to be leaning towards, but Wraith, Crypto, and Bangalore is certainly something different, but if it works for you, that's really all that matters.
I mean, there's comfort picks, and sometimes that is better than trying something at the last minute that you're not that familiar on. I agree.
Camera's off too.
A really dominant force this split. They're about to evac in towards that area, so let's see if Final Dream.
All right, looks like we missed 2 eliminations. That's my fault.
Reposition even closer.
Well, speaking
my
of
bad,
LGD,
my bad.
They've actually decided to push north, so instead of walking their way into XY, they've gone north and they've run into Evo's Predator. And this will be a bit of an issue actually for LGD, because in the meanwhile, X and Y are actually pushing out of the zone to have a little bit of a look at this. LGD are in danger of getting sandwiched if they get their timing wrong, which they may well have. They're going to try and escape vertically. Feiju, though, very low. No shields. About a quarter of his HP left, but somehow seems to be making this rotation okay. Just having a quick look at the kill feed there. Haven't seen him drop, so now they've actually managed to make it out there, LGD, but not the same can be said, obviously, for Evo's Predator, who have taken the more scenic route along the ground, and they have just been farmed by X on the way in, and they're definitely going to lose 1 or 2 members. So X and Y will be happy with that. Those knocks that they got, one of them being onto Jack Cute, is not going to be reset by X and Y, so it was in the end just Gop Gaps that managed to make it into the zone, and he's been found out by LGD. It looks like it's going to be a pretty untimely end for Evo's Predator.
Yeah, well, obviously X and Y know this area very well. They have a team that was playing Cenote Caves for a very long time, so they should have a good idea.
This ended up turning out more towards that bridge. Look at that, dude. I'm so smart, chat.
Launch pad.
Except it's not going to finish by the bridge. It's going to be more close to that last building, but...
Heroes very quickly losing a couple of members there as well. Lahim is a sliver of HP. Luckily, it's on the Pathfinder. So
but if I was calling this game...
to maybe get out of dodge, but
I would have
how
had
long that is going to last, there's a little angle around the corner there that is causing problems for him. I don't know that he's going to be able to get the res here. Even if he were to get the banners, it's just a little bit too late in the game. So I might have to play this one out as a solo and see if you get...
Yeah, I mean, really, where are you going to go,
forward.
right? Unless you have a Moby.
He's very much stuck in there with some other people. If he somehow managed to get onto the outside, it was actually a respawn beacon, but that's a far cry from here, where X and Y are getting into yet another fight. This time it's LGD Gaming. X and Y are doing such a good job of gatekeeping several teams now.
Yeah, most definitely. They're just sort of working their way around the outer edge of this zone. They're not.
Have we gotten to see Legends Gaming yet or no?
Their rotations in early at all. More than happy to sweep the eastern flank, and they've very much done so. They've taken down 2 or 3 teams on that eastern flank, as you sort of allude to. So it's actually quite a comfortable, quiet side of this for them, at least for the next 10-15 seconds or so, when they inevitably do have to push their way in. It's going to get a little bit more difficult. By the way, to have Bearclaw also still kind of in the thick of things. They've really been fighting hard this game. Only got the 3 points so far. I thought they might have had a little bit more than that, but
wow, the kill feed
will be eliminated, and
crazy,
so 2
bro.
will Heroes and Bearclaw in the blink of an eye. We go from 12 teams down to 9. X and Y might be about to make it potentially 8 because they look like they want to take this fight as well. Remarkable team
going out earlier.
Off in the kill feed in the meanwhile there as well. But yeah, X and Y certainly not slowing down this pace that they've set. Although maybe the crypto drone, the EMP, is going to force them to.
Yeah, I mean, Maker's blowing a lot of ultimates over here. We see Ace just throwing out the Rolling Thunder just to X and Y at bay. Luckily, they do have this nice little position here.
X and Y's got a nice little game going for them, man.
Just chill for a moment. They've done such a good job of picking up KP, making it into the next zone, clearing out their backs, and just, you know, rinse and repeat. A really impressive game 1 here from X and Y, but their route into the next zone will be via Makers, and that's an even harder fight for them.
Well, MDY have been keeping their heads down pretty nicely and looking reasonably healthy as a result of that. Gonna get some good scouting out of that EMP, out of that drone as well. Obviously, EMP is going to be an option too, I suppose. Kill Devil on the outer edge. A little bit of work to do to try to get their way in, and some good damage coming out of this Havoc so far for Bolin, but eating as much or if not more in response. It's going to be a little bit of a hassle now for VKG.
Well, it's more than a hassle. They've got 1 player down, 1 player in a box, and now it's really just all up to 9-5-1. GK, they have to get a win today to pull out of this, and they're in a good spot here, sitting in that cave underneath. Outside, we're finally getting that talk we were alluding to earlier.
So X and Y is going to need to finish his rotation in. They've got to go up this hill. Got to get up that hill. There's 2 teams here, too. MDY and MKS.
Also having a bit of a look. They've decided to come out of their shell, come out of their building, and see if they can nab a couple of points on the way through.
That makes this a really tough climb for X and Y. Like, Ario is really tough, but you got 2 teams you got to go against here.
Makers in that meanwhile as
they
well.
Should both be maybe not both focusing on chip damage back on in trouble too, though.
Back safe around the corner for a moment. Dexter will drop, and that's going to be the end of Asia as well. X and Y, they picked their timing pretty well on the fight against Makers, but they didn't quite calculate for MDY on the side. So it's both X and Y and Makers getting taken down, and MDY.
Oh, is that what it is? It's Makers, not MKers. I'm an idiot.
Okay. MDY, that actually buys them a lot of space in the circle here. You can see partly in the building, there's a rock to play behind. There's got multiple angles, and that's what's so powerful in a late game circle, whereas Kill Devil as a duo, you know, just a tiny sliver of cover to play behind. Vegas Inferno, they're on top of GK's position, so GK still in that cave underground. No one's getting in there with the Watson fences that YoBoy has set up currently. And then, yeah, it's Vegas Inferno on the top playing that Vantage Newcastle composition.
Seems to be working out pretty nicely for them. 11 points so far.
Yeah, but I mean, most of it's off placement, right?
They might well overtake. I believe it would have been X and Y that was at the top after all the fighting that they were doing, but now out of the picture.
They are going to have quite a bit of a rotation.
Start to shift. In a couple of minutes, and so that'll be where this all starts to kick off. But for the meanwhile, with only the 4 teams remaining, I'm not sure we're going to get too much action. Kill Devil may be getting taken down, but beyond that, not sure that anybody's really too keen to change up their positions all that much. MDY on a bit of a slight rotate here, but more of a sort of chip damage attempt.
Beauty of the Newcastle value.
A-Flow will be nice and safe.
I'm a huge Newcastle fan, honestly. Always have been.
Yep, the castle wall has to get used for that one. Maybe they were hoping to save that for just a little bit later to buy them more time than the other team. All you really need to do is just to be safer, to be less pushable for slightly longer.
Bro's rocking the sniper's mark and a triple take right now.
It looks like the others have started fighting though, so maybe Vegas Inferno have got this anyway.
GK's out.
Yeah, GK just get the
Nah, they're gonna have to drop first.
MDY tearing through the lobby at the moment. There's another one for them, and this might just be the end as well. MDY so easily walk their way to a victory.
Nice game from MDY there.
It's a big start to the regional finals of Split 2, and they will be very happy with that.
Oh, wow. That was
wow.
a very fun zone there. You know, lots of interesting fights in the middle there. I mean, you know, Guild coming out there so early. X and Y having a really good game, but those couple of extra teams there doing very well.
Yeah, no, MDY kicking things off, of course, Elfish at the start there. This is, I guess, a team that I didn't really, think to take, you know, the first match, but an excellent one by them. You know, there are a few other teams that are sort of keeping an eye on as well. GK Esports literally sitting up there nicely to Elfish. Some of these teams, you know, I feel like they're at the bottom of the leaderboard, you know, coming into regional finals, and they're like, not today, this is regional finals. We need to kick things off because we've got to make 50 points. But yeah, a huge game from them. How do you feel about, you know, MDY taking out the first game?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's perhaps the best case scenario that we could have had for what will be maybe quite a tantalizing end to the day, right? Because obviously MDY, there's 77 points going into today. Dreamfire 85. Those were number 8 and number 7 on the overall standings.
Oh, I should probably open up Battle 5
so
we had that open
about the
before
context
we
again
got
of 7 teams going to land.
Dabutskis early.
Dreamfire being the team that you're trying to, at least initially trying to overtake. In fact, actually, we can lump Guild into that conversation as well, because Guild didn't have a very good first game either.
Oh, so this is when we were down.
Really getting too many
points.
Who'd
they go down to?
Our very first game, MDY getting
Bear Claw, really.
Las Vegas Inferno, Bear Claw Gaming, all three of those teams all sort of had a decent start to the day. They're going to be looking at that and saying, okay, if we can sort of do very well in this lobby and get, you know, maybe 25, 21 sort of points, something like that, that's going to make it quite.
By the way, chat, my mic's not picking up my AC too much, is it?
Guild, who are sort of hanging on, not by a thread. They have a little bit of a gap. They have a little bit of a buffer zone. 10 points for Guild and 8 points the buffer for Dreamfire.
We had to put it one of the window units in up here.
That is definitely something that can be overtaken by a good day, and MDY have kind of done everything that they need to do to start the day on the right foot, whereas Dreamfire, if you remember, they were literally the antithesis of that, and they were the first team that were eliminated. So it's a very tantalizing prospect, but we'll obviously have to see how that develops over the course of the day. It's very much too early to really say at this point.
Yeah, and let's take it back to you know, YoBo doing it in 3 for you, Elfish. You know, coming out there with 17 points. So, you know, even though jokes aside, not a, you know, a epic start for them, but of course we know them as kind of a bit of a snowball sort of team where they just pick things up as the game goes by. We should be good now. But MDY getting themselves 18 points total in game number 1. Vegas Inferno there with 9 kills as well as a second place. That's another 18 for them. You know, they're going to reach that 50-point threshold, and then that's match point eligibility for those teams. So, you know, they are kicking things off incredibly well.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't know why you had to do it to me like that. To be fair, I kind of had to do YoBo a bit like that, didn't I? Like, again, this is what you kind of get from YoBo, though. Like, they are very much a live by the sword, die by the sword team, and you could see even in that last game, like, they are still playing to that style, which is very much a very aggressive kind of we want to take fights on the edge style, and that's what they did. The trouble is they ran into Legends, who are obviously a very good team in their own right.
A team that's great at team fighting, by the way.
Didn't really work out for them. They only get the 1 point on the board there, but yeah, I mean, teams that I was talking about, like Guild and Dreamfire, both at the bottom of the scoreboard right there, have a bit of catching up to do if they want to.
That's right, though. Even in a game where they go out early and get no placement points, they still pick up 4 points, which is big.
It's only game at number 1.
And we talk about like working their way towards that 50, right?
On, you know, all teams around. Legends Gaming, of course, we have mentioned that they've got their golden ticket through to LAN. So, you know, knowing Legends Gaming, though, Elfish, they'll want to win everything and still have the ticket.
Oh, Legends still want to come out on top today.
We're definitely going to see them pick things up going into the matches ahead of us. But Kill Devil here, I remember Genome sort of saying that Kill Devil might be one of the ones to sort of reach match point first, and they're doing incredibly well as well. 5th place there with the 8 points, so that's something that we might see from them too. But, you know, it's very, very exciting just to see these teams sort of pull through the threshold and make themselves known in today's matches. But, you know, I'm still very prominent that Legends Gaming is going to hit the 50 points first. I said it in 7 games. I reckon they might get it in 5 games and then win it in 7. So, you know, I've been watching this team obviously very closely. We all have. Their first and second games, yeah, they get the kill points there, but then they start to amp and ramp things up in the next coming games. So, Elfish, that's my prediction, of course. You know, Weibo, your prediction was not going, you know, so closely there, but you know what, that's so fine. But we're gonna
close the door behind us in case it gets loud.
But let me hand it over to the coach of X and Y to take you through a wonderful scouting report of this epic team.
My simple answer is yes. I think it's fundamentally changed a lot of how we draft, because X and Y used to be a very poor team on Wolves Edge. We always had like the poorest of POIs. We had launch side, one of the worst POIs on Wolves Edge. So thank God draft came in, saved us from having to play launch side and like having to worry about whether we get dome every game or not, you know? Because you had to fight 2 POIs and essentially you might lose one if you try both. You know?
Yo, his audio is really, really low, and I ain't touching it.
That department, but whereas on Storm Point, we had Senate Caves to ourselves, right? And because of how draft plays out and everything, there's a chance we might not get the POI that we're most well known to play from. So yeah, it's good and it's bad. It depends on where you were before that and like what you're looking to get after the changes. One of the biggest challenges we just had it last week. So XY actually we did this really interesting thing where we actually tried to play players in different positions just to get them to learn about like how different positions play out and how different players see the game, right? Different perspectives. Help make for a better.
See, like I want to turn him up. Hold on, I'm gonna do it. Fuck it.
Because we had XD on Fuse, there is a big problem that came out where, oh shit, now my IJ is on Fuse. We want to make quick and dynamic plays, but it's harder for Fuse to execute those, you know, because he's not the bang, he's not the blood. So we had a really rough last week where like we were figuring out, hey, like we were getting results with like Fuse the week before, but what's going on now? So what we did was that we had a backroom talk and we essentially said, hey, at the end of the day, you got the experience. I think it's better if you shift back to your original role of playing Bang. Steve went back to playing Bang. And then we just had a better game from there on out because he now has the experience of how his anchor player plays the game, how he views the game. So he's able to more comprehensively IGL. He's able to develop a more holistic game plan as the game progresses and stuff. Yeah, so that's like one of the biggest challenges we had this split, which is like to just help players figure out how to play the game from different positions. We're feeling confident, but I would say we're also
What's the
feeling
benefit of that, though?
How to say, a bit of the stress of playing regional finals, you know.
I guess just more being familiar with what your teammates should be doing, so you can make a play off that.
Harder than what it is in the regular season.
I feel like that also pulls away from you doing what you are, like learning what you need to do, especially with the POI draft and shit.
Game and play the best Apex.
You know what I mean?
And I'm glad to say that we're also bringing in maybe potentially a couple of fresh new team comps regional finals. How am I gonna celebrate? I hope I find an AUG. I don't have to pay for my own flight tickets, and we're all gonna ball out once we reach land.
I love it.
We have our Apex champion.
All right. We're taking a break after game 1. Be a long day, chap.
Alert 5, Valkyrie actual. Ready for burn.
Welcome back, everyone. We've just kicked things off here in APAC-South. And if you're just joining us, welcome on in. And if you've been here from the start, we just had an epic game 1 from MDY. They took out 6 kills in the win, which totaling them for 18 points. But that's not without Vegas Inferno with 9 kills in a second. But it actually makes them tied with MDY, Elfish.
Yeah, most definitely. Look, X and
All
Y
right.
not too far away from that one.
Remember, we're
They
going to start
picked up
switching
8
maps
kills in
every
that
other
too,
game
so,
during the
couple of teams
finals.
kind of plugging away
Regional
at
finals.
the points tally that is
Because they can
required.
end
We've
at
got to
any
get to
time when
50,
somebody
and
gets on
that's
a
where
match
things
point.
obviously then start to
It's not
get a
like
little bit interesting
our normal
as
weeks
far as,
where we have
let's say
3
these
on
first
one
sort of
and 3 on the other.
3-4 games maybe are concerned. Usually it's actually maybe more like 4 or 5 kind of games before someone hits that match point total. These are like the staging games, right? They're like the preparation, right? Everyone gets to ease their way into the lobby, and then the real business starts when someone hits 50 points and up to the point where like 12 teams hit 50 points, which is what we had last time. So plenty of opportunities once we get to that point. But yeah, we've still got a bit of a ways to go before we get there.
Yeah, no, you always think these teams might keep the momentum. They get these huge hitting games at the start, but, it does sort of pave way for these other teams to sort of catch their way up. But, our predictions might be cast aside. MDY, Vegas, X and Y on top at the moment. But let's find out now, guys.
All right, let's go. Big game here for Legends
Game
Game to get back into things.
All right, back into it. And obviously that conversation, it's still early days, right? Like, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Great start for a couple of teams, but still a lot of time for most teams.
I mean, Legends sitting down at 4 with 4
when
points.
we're looking at the history of APAC-South, outside of those couple of instances where one team has really, really dominated in the vein of maybe someone like Moist, most of these match point format days have gone, I think, quite the distance usually.
Yeah, we usually end up somewhere around maybe 7 or 8 matches.
Echo.
I think we had last split was a little bit longer
Echo?
than that.
Echo?
Having a look at the map.
Echo?
Heading up north this time. So this one actually pulled the checkpoint, or will it go somewhere on the other side? That's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. Obviously, we have had some changes to the zone algorithm lately. More so in trying to make it a little bit more even which quadrant the zone will to out of the 4. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're seeing less of let's say the
I think I fixed it
or whatever it is, like within
might
those
have been me.
regions.
That might have actually been on me.
You can get it pulling sort of the same sort of ways, but overall, at least, it is making it a bit fairer for all teams.
So wait, what you're saying basically is there's just a little bit more likelihood that we're going to get, say, an east zone as a west zone, as opposed to a north zone, as opposed to a south zone, as an initial zone 1 pull, rather than going in the same sort of like northeast kind of time and time again.
Yeah, exactly. So game, it should be like that. But
it should be, but will it be? Stay tuned.
Decides which quadrant it's going in, from then on.
Same, yeah. Okay, I get it. Fair enough.
We'll see.
What was the Firebird? Did just lose a player as well to start that round off, so getting a little bit cooked actually on that rotation in maybe around where
remarkable
VKG
teams
are
now
right
caught
now.
between
Remarkable
Monster
team have
Fire,
gotten into that mix,
Bird, and
Monster
VK,
Firebird
right?
are obviously still sticking around because
Really
they're
fighting.
thinking about recovering the banner, which is
APAC-South.
kind of in the thick of this fight. Remarkable team are out of dodge ASAP. But VKG also worse for wear, though they've very quickly been able to grab 951's banner. And I just say they're going to want to try and get that res as quickly as possible. Maybe just at the bottom of the wall on the outside respawn beacon, which is exactly where they're going to be headed. So perhaps no harm, no foul to come from that early engagement, at least as far as VK Gaming is concerned.
Yeah, both teams potentially going to get away with that and get the respawn. SWQ. They were in the vicinity, but just like not able to finish off either duo. Oh, I'll just keep going into zone, and we've got remarkable team.
I haven't gotten to watch much of. I didn't get to watch much of NA or EMEA earlier, chap.
Try and hold any teams who are trying to get into.
So since the changes, I don't know what they're running. I only know from scrims they're running a pretty decent variety of things right now.
A little closer to purple. Perfect sense. So this is the state of play right now in checkpoint. So it could well be pulling here.
I do know that.
Actually, that kind of
I know that a
like
lot, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, as you can see, they're not. They're actually on the other side.
But like, it's been like a little bit of everything, though. Honestly, like we've seen,
quite
like
far
still
from
been
purple,
seeing a lot
so
of the bang
have to
for
do
sure.
A lot of damage and stay in this for a while.
But from there on, it's like you might see kind of like we're seeing with Guild, like where you got the Seer, maybe a Watson. Vantage has started coming out a little bit.
Yeah, just sitting inside that bunker. They've obviously got the
Still seeing
Watson,
some
so
teams go like the
ultimately
caustic route.
But we'll be hoping for a northern pull.
More crypto. Interesting to see a Wraith out here for Weibo.
Being a super hard northern pull. VK Gaming losing another member, and that was at the hands of Weibo, who they still haven't really slowed anything down all that much. Info gathering tool, obviously, with the crypto drone, not really seeing too much around them. Recognizing that that point ends up being one for free, doubling their tally from the first game there, which is nothing to really write home about just yet, as far as Weibo is normally being able to put up big games, and we're not quite at that position just yet, but early days.
Or Monster Firebird.
2 or 3 matches.
Activated respawn beacon.
Question it.
Getting a look at the incredible array of team comps that we've got happening here today.
Honestly, I'll take it.
Awesome to see.
Yeah.
Is that 15%? The top picked composition was 15%. My lord.
Yep.
How we've longed for these days, Elfish.
Yeah. No changes from game 1 to game 2 either, so I mean obviously that makes sense. We'll maybe keep that one in mind going into the next game, which will be heading over to...
Oh, we've been seeing some teams bringing out the Pathy. We have been hearing more of that in NAE.
I think it generally does. NA. You normally see like 2-3 teams maybe making a change based on map to map. Just checking in with VK Gaming again on the kill feed. They continue to lose members. So it looks like it's going to be a rough game for VKG, and those points are going into the back pocket of Weibo, which I'm happy about.
Sure, they've gotten quite a few fans after their split one. Running the show down here in APAC-South.
I'm thinking maybe tomorrow.
To those standards at LAN and falling short a little bit too here in.
Depending on the time between EMEA and NA, we'll run it back and watch the NA from today. What, match day 7, I think it is?
Striders like from APAC North and essentially qualify from, you know, the brink of extinction here.
We've still got a lot of teams yet to even make a rotation in. I'm looking actually at Legends Gaming, who are still out by Lightning Rod. So they've gone up from the wall to sort of Zeus Station, Lightning Rod type area, and taking their sweet time about this rotation into the zone. Very much edge play. You can see there the one little purple word, Legend, in the top right corner. So they're not even on the map at the moment. That's how far away they are. Evo's Predator also coming quite slowly out of Cenote Cave, and X and Y doing the same out of Pylon.
Oh, no.
So it is taken a very, very slow game for some of these teams.
Yeah, well, VKG, the remaining member is trying.
Legend's not going to have, so like it's like a double-edged sword for Legend Gaming, right?
I thought maybe
because they'll be one of the last ones in, so they're going to have to fight for their spot, which means they're not going to get a spot for free. But
oh, I think
they are better like fighting team than just. I'd probably put them above anybody in APAC-South, right?
Maybe. We'll have to hold that thought for the moment, because Weibo are up to some shenanigans in the trenches. They'll rotate out of the Wraith portal. And Rolling Thunder getting tossed out in both directions as well, but no harm really to come of it. And actually, just to catch back up with Legends, it doesn't look like they've decided to go for the kills onto VKG, who did manage to get a res in the wall. And it was only a one-man res, so QQ not getting back in the game, unfortunately, for VKG. They're going to have to make it as a duo.
This is all happening to the south of Checkpoint here. A couple of teams probably hoping that the zone's going to pull down here, because none of them have this information. Apart from Warmaster Firebird, actually, who know that the teams south of them are going to have to keep going, so they might be looking for that one, but teams who are going to be a little closer to the action.
As much as we had early fighting, we had nobody who full committed into it, like a 100% team fight. Kind of crazy. What do we have, like 3 different team fights going on across the map?
Nade?
More than that.
doesn't look to have done too much damage. So again, nothing really coming
And
off
yeah, like,
those tags.
we still haven't
Legends
had
somehow flying over the top of like half the lobby and basically taking
a
no
team
damage
eliminated.
at
We only
all.
have one person
They've
gone
managed to
right
get
now
into
because we've
the
had a couple
trenches.
reses come in.
And they're going to put a bit of damage back down as well. Strafing needs to be careful he doesn't overcommit to this fight. But they certainly do need to carve out their place in the world because they are really stuck between multiple teams. They're on the corner between Weibo Gaming and SWQ.
Come on, boys.
So both teams kind of having a bit of a
Good
look
call
in
from
at
their
Legends at the
IGL, though.
moment.
Puts them in a good
You can see the
spot
predicament
as
that
far
they're in.
as where this game ends.
Doesn't really look like a position that they're going to want to hold into for too long, but I don't know what other option they've really got.
I mean, it is holdable with Watson as long as you get enough. But yeah, you can see teams down the south end here now starting.
Like,
to
even where that gen is just not going to be a good spot
really
for them
crowd
once they
into
get
this
reset.
and try and make
As
their
if
way
once the second team
up
pushes
into
over to them.
checkpoint. It was Predator being held
They're
out
kinda
by
just
a
out in
remarkable
the
team,
middle.
but then they're getting looked at by GK. There's so many teams down the bottom. But just as many Aussie tension problems over here.
Is that Weibo
in the
pushing over
trenches
towards
as well? So yeah, it was a
Legends
late
too?
beacon scan there from Legends try and push their way in.
Or is that not
But
Legends
as you
here?
can see, it's a tough spot here with teams like Weibo just putting pressure on and using that Wraith portal to just jockey back and forth as they knock player K
Ooh.
again.
Yeah, EMP comes out to try to provide a bit of space. Weibo are not going to slow things down at all. They want to keep going forward, and they certainly will be doing so.
wow.
L-Star in hand.
Legends
for
gaming
Jackie
out
Chan.
20th
And
this
Legends
time.
eliminated early again.
Damn.
Certainly hasn't been their day so far, but maybe a shift over to World's Edge with the first pick of Skyhook West will change their fortunes.
I mean,
They can hope.
it was a good spot that they picked to come in, but it was just extremely hard to hold. And as you can see, the pressure from both SWQ, who I think got in there just a little bit earlier than them, and Weibo, who were, you know, willing to just use those ultimates to pressure them, was too much for them to stabilize and to handle.
Yeah, Weibo are continuing to play that fight-heavy style, and the Wraith really facilitating that. You could see how it worked out for them there. On the topic of SWQ, they're also trying to be a little active right now. Maybe a little bit too active, as Donut's going to go low. Chasing the bunker
Wonder if,
is going to happen,
Design's
but that might have been an
watching APAC-South.
overcommitment. Let's see, it is SWQ up against Weibo, and indeed was a bit of an overstep from Weibo, so their run comes to an end quite, unfortunately, again, quite early.
So
Grape
there,
soda's
Thompson
outta here.
Once again being the last man to hit the ground here. That was at the behest of Final Dream, who should be able to just walk in here ahead of SWQ. Teams in the buildings, though, only one of these buildings is in, and it's the one that Kill Devil is in right at the end there. So Bearclaw looking to make their way in. They get on top of it, that's fine too. Not many other teams in this area, actually.
Kill Devil knocking it down for the moment. Obviously, they're going to be getting pressured pretty substantially. It is Bearclaw Gaming outside. Got to listen in with Bearclaw, see how they take this fight.
Mommy, splash!
Nice.
Inside,
Nice hold corner.
On ping, batting, on batting.
Nice corner hold.
Another one inside.
Climbing up.
Fight the guy inside.
He died, one died. This is solo, it's a solo.
What's
Easy.
Res me. You can't. This guy's here. I'm dead.
I need a midi.
Just sit inside the building. I'm gonna die, okay? I'm dead to this node.
It's only one guy. Can we look for... Heck, can you play some Moby?
Yeah, I'm placing.
Maybe. They might push you.
Can
we run up checkpoint?
Yeah, we can.
Fuck, we didn't have banner.
We have no smokes.
Oh, okay, a tough one there for BCG, getting chased out by FD and straight into the waiting arms of War Monster Firebird with the devotion. There we go. Yeah, not much longer for them. And now, yeah, look, Final Dream though. Getting the crypto scan onto War Monster Firebird. And Fuses just whacking away at each other, trying to keep each other at bay. They've got 50 seconds to sort this out. So it should be time to just wait out these ultimates, but
Doesn't War Monster Firebird? Yeah, they got a fucking long way to rotate. They got another team behind them too.
Not too many connections coming through here from War Monster Firebird, despite all of the spam. And actually, Casey's been knocked. So this could get a little bit awkward. Dreamfire's kind of floating around the back side of this, by the way. I haven't really mentioned much about Dreamfire so far in this second game, but
bro, how many
20th in game 1? But
how much shit is he gonna throw out?
Run here in game 2 could start to pique our interest, or pique our interest, if you want to do.
If you will. Okay, so wow, they've just you can see they've just been keeping at each other all that entire time, and now they've kind of both left it a little too late. So those teams over on the east are going to have a fraught run in here. You're going to have to run teams like Dreamfire, currently sitting at the bottom, only 2 points.
I would say Dreamfire is kind of far outside the zone, even still for them too.
Such a tough run through, especially when you've got Guild sitting in the bunker that is going to be looking out. They've got a bang ult. They're holding on to this. Every single team running out of checkpoint in the next like 10 seconds is going to have to worry about, unless of course they've saved the evac. Oh no!
Oh no!
3 MZ. I think he's done for.
Maybe. That was a bit of a mishap.
Wait.
You could tell he realized. He recognized just last second. Okay, we've got maybe the rest of Dreamfire deciding that they're going to just try and take this fight together, which is fair enough.
That's a good decision.
I don't know. It works out.
That's a beautiful decision.
Get eliminated, but Zone is going to be pushing out
like,
their
yeah,
back,
they end up
and
dying
are
here.
going to be under a bit of pressure. Guild is looking up,
but they at least pick up the KP.
So too, a couple of those down in the trenches. Yeah, Dreamfire done and dusted at the hands of a flower. Can you believe it? Guild, though, on the other hand, sitting pretty.
Yeah, look, not to be confused with a flow from Las Vegas Inferno. Let's go into a listening now with Guild to see if they can get through from top 5 to top 1.
Second, oh, I don't
64,
really
one's up top. Okay, these guys don't run at us.
Yep. Yeah. They probably will.
I have to go back. I can't loot those boxes. I got about.
It's crazy how quick they become favorites with the pick of the MT. Just really.
The only way they're gonna be able to run at us is over the top, okay?
Yeah.
We're just walking and hugging left, okay?
That rock there is in.
Yeah, we need to play for that.
I'm not holding inside right now because
somebody there right now. They crossed in front of us. They're running up. They're gonna find someone.
I'm looking behind.
Yeah, they're gonna look to wipe this.
Yep.
Swing out left. They're on the car.
Yeah, what's on the far right?
Guild doesn't want to over-assert themselves here. Yeah, I was gonna say they don't want to draw too much attention to themselves. They still have to rotate in.
Team on the right still.
Yeah, it's DF, it's DF.
Batting. DF died.
DF died, yeah. Different team.
Oh, it's a different team. Walk up to the stitch in front of us.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm smoking outside.
We gotta walk it up slow right. I mean slow left. Find me.
Alright. One by himself. I'm batting.
Play slow.
Killing.
Scanning left. Bang, nearly cracked.
What up, Big
Jack?
Jack?
If you have it.
Don't have it.
Hopefully you've been good, fam.
Oh, these are being above them.
Loving up.
I've been busy, bro. Honestly, I haven't been able to get it stream as much as I would have liked to. I'm trying to get into swinging things again.
I'll put a gen down.
Nice, playing the gen. Watch out back for DF.
Yeah, I'm batting.
They're swinging us.
Yep.
I got a bat.
Yeah,
I'm cracked.
Winner of this fight, I mean, has a great spot.
On the left corner.
I died.
Oh, Guild's in trouble here. Yeah.
Well, that's the end of Guild Esports. Not at the hands of Dreamfire as they thought it was, but certainly at the hands of SWQ. We've got heroes left remaining. And
yeah, I mean, my casting just got extremely busy during spring semester, to be honest.
Around, but here's an SWQ. Are certainly the two superpowers. It was Final Dream that was that third sort of party.
Yeah, Heroes wins this.
That unfortunately wasn't
just
really
free high ground
actually to the party. It's just Heroes and SWQ now. They're back to full strength for the most part. Heroes are at the full strength. Lahim does get taken back down.
I was gonna say a little bit of an overextension by Lahim. They should be fine.
Out of the picture for quite a while. SWQ might just be able to clutch something out as a duo. Kissan's last man standing. Donut 1 HP. Can't get it done.
Let's go, Heroes.
We'll take game 2 of the regional finals.
Damn, that was a close one there. Those last couple of Hemlock shots almost put SWQ over the top, but it's Heroes trying to get through here and pick up that golden ticket.
But yeah, for me, I mean, with the high school league up here, as the spring semester kept me busy, and then I was doing some college casting too. RLCS, I was working both weekends between 2 different regions.
Literally holding on just because that last little pop shot there just managed to secure them the win. But yeah, what an epic feat from them. That was game number 2. That was fouled away under incredible.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're starting to get there.
Feat from all our stuff. You know, I was kind of keeping a close eye on.
It's just interesting how in the course of a year I've turned from more variety. I mean, I still do variety casting, but like I've been able to really etch myself into like the Rocket League community where I've been casting a little bit of everywhere.
SWQ also coming in very close there at second place. It was just epic.
Still would love Apex to come calling someday.
Very nice to see from SWQ. I agree. They've been a force today. Not managing to take out the win yet, but that's fine. It's match point finals. You want to save the win, right? That's got to be the game plan.
Yeah, like quite literally, they're just getting their way up this leaderboard. And if I've seen anything from SWQ, we've always talked about them when it comes to
dang, that's what's up.
Later matches, they just seem to really switch on. And
I can imagine
incredibly smart
that's
in their plays, always creating such
not only quite a bit of
clearing,
work and stress, but then by the time you want to get home, you for real just kind of want to chill. So I can get that.
We've seen that from them throughout this split. So getting second place is huge from them, and I just I feel like they're going to be one of the teams to get a win and reach match point.
When you do get time to game, Big Jack, what you been up to?
Yeah, I think that's a fair feeling. Running away with, 14 points here for SWQ. A couple of big teams out on the top though there.
Tarkov, nice.
21, that's very solid, especially.
Yeah, I don't mind watching Tarkov. It is just not my bag, man.
You can see a lot of that off the back of Kissan's. Fuse definitely still pickable. A lot of teams have been shifting away from him this week, but we've had.
I'll watch the hell out of some Tarkov though.
Of how much
some of the homies are big Tarkov players.
Singular character can put out.
Yeah, and I must touch on, this has been the first time I have ever seen such different, I guess, character selection, Genome. We're so used to seeing such a, meta that's like across all teams. We've had sort of not jokes about Vantage coming into
lately. My go-to's been Rocket League for playing, just because I can get decent amount of games in if I'm only playing for 45 minutes to an hour.
We're getting Caustic still. Like, this has been insane, the way that everything has changed so much for these teams. And I guess with so many different metas for each team, it's been kind of a little refreshing, and it may make for teams to be a little bit more aggressive because they're sort of picking that Pathfinder and stuff like that. But Heroes have moved up 12 spots. That 24 points for them. They've taken over.
And it seems like they do a pretty good job staying on top of like updates and wipes and stuff. So like it's not like only the top or
still very much in contention.
Where the rich get richer, so to speak.
Match point eligibility. So great from them. I guess another team that sort of swooped up is SWQ. They moved up about 8 points, Genome. So it's huge changes only just in match number 2.
Yeah, indeed. There's so many teams there that need to have a really big game here, a big game day to actually make it.
Well, shoot, what I just see, 7 Days to Die is finally out of like alpha after like 11 years or some shit.
To remove anyone who's already in the top 7 is a big ask. Teams like SWQ have just had a solid effort so far this season, and yeah, they've given themselves a bit of a buffer.
Yeah, it's just been really refreshing to see them sort of pave the way and change a little bit. But, 12th in first place and coming out in second in just only our second match. We, of course, have no idea how many games we're going to play today, of course, because it's match point format. And if you don't know what that is at home, well, you got to earn yourself 50 points. So any team that reaches 50, they will then need to get themselves a win right after that thresh point. So let's head over to a break, but we're going to give it over to Crazy Kong to take us through.
我们在第二赛段其实没有做出特别
That would be pretty interesting, huh? That actually be pretty cool.
其实对 队伍内会有比较积极的沟通，才得到了这赛季的进化和成绩。我觉得新的跳点选择机制没有改变我们队伍的打法。我们队伍觉得新的跳点机制非常的好，让本身具有一定随机性的游戏变得更加有趣，而不是像以前一样去固定思维去玩这个游戏。对于新版本的更新，我觉得会让阵容变得多样化吧，而不是一味的去选择班加多尔或者说巡血猎犬。我们应该会集体出去团建去庆祝，让更多的人感受到我们心里的喜悦和开心吧。
Said we're gonna have a party. Hell yeah, it's a party. It's a party. All right, so we got a minute and a half for a break. I'm gonna go use the restroom here real quick. Run some quick ads here real quick while I'm away as well. That way we don't get hit with them during game. Yeah, I should keep them away during game. Be right back.
tricked you. Whew, glad I got that off my chest.
Tell Death I said hello.
I will, Blanca.
And welcome back, everyone. You just witnessed Heroes take out the win in game number 2 with the draw dropping 1v1 against SWQ. That's getting themselves 24 points overall. So we're going to say that they're 26 points away from match point eligibility. Our teams need to get themselves 50 points today for match point and then get a win after that to take away the gold today. But what an epic game from Heroes, Gino.
Yeah, good match there, Lace. It was a solid game from Heroes.
He gave me a protein bar, chat.
Having a look at the comps that they've been running so far, they've been one of the teams picking up that Pathfinder, right? This legend that we just haven't seen in the longest time in an ALGS meta, and part of that comes from, I think, his new zipline.
Bro, I feel like I have such a hard time adjusting when they're in lobby on the sound.
Your team is going fast,
which is unfortunate.
Down that zipline now, and it also gives them a damage reduction as you are making those rotations. So in these late game zones, I think rotations that previously would have only been achievable by perhaps Wraith, now you can get them off the back of the Pathfinder.
Yeah, and it's been super refreshing. You know, we've always talked about having Pathfinder back into the games. You know, we remember the days of the Watson, the Gibraltar, and the Pathy. But to have these sort of teams come back with this, also opens up a more aggressive play style, not only on top of like all the abilities that Pathfinder has. It's easy for this team to sort of maneuver their way, away from a fight.
Blaze is loud
be the
and
ultimate
Genome
rat
isn't
if
quite
they
as
need be, or push a squad.
That's fair.
You know, absolutely.
Also kind of true with
so it's
like Elfish's mic as well.
Really, really fast-paced games that we're going to see today. Of course, you know, we still have the Fuse in there as well. Genome Fuse being able to be that recon as well as scanning. I guess not super surprised.
Lace was a good add to the desk this year.
A bit of a pick at the moment. Obviously with Bangalore now.
Because if I remember right, she was not
enemy plays in the smoke.
hosting
I believe that's at a 20-meter range though, so it still provides cover from far back. But you know, up in those smoke fights, it's so much easier to see them, so we don't see Bloodhound. But you know, let's just move on over. We just finished our games on Store Point for 2 matches. We're going to head over to World's Edge now. This is match number 3.
Yeah, indeed, it is World's Edge, of course, the change up, and for 4 teams, they're going to change their composition.
Is it the pitch for you, Jack, or what?
LGD and SWQ changing things up just a little bit going into this map. But I think the big thing for me, Genome, that I'm looking for here is Legends. Can they change things up, right? They've got 4 points on the board so far today. They had the first choice.
I was say they got Prio
on any map that they could have possibly wanted.
World's Edge, though.
West. So now is not the time for them to prove to us why that choice might have been made, because the game has unfortunately been ended. So we'll have to be taking a short moment to sort that one out. But that was the storyline that I wanted to lead into with that one. And I think maybe something we can talk about here anyway, Lace, because obviously for Legends, right, like, you know, we sort of had our questions. Why have they gone for this as their first POI pick? And this would have been the opportunity, or will be the opportunity for them to prove it, especially given how poorly the day has actually started for them.
Yeah, well, we were obviously talking about, you know, Cedo Station being quite a, you know, sought after POI, and Legends.
Glad to see some things never change in Apex
I
chat.
guess picking the wall, you know, watching them sort of, I guess, I'm dare saying they're trying to change things up in case they head over to LAN, because they have a one-way ticket. They are locked in for it. So that in case that they're on the main stage and they get, you know, not their favorite POI, they're going to be learning how to sort of make their way and transition out of this space. So I guess I can see the reasoning behind it.
One of these
also
days,
knowing Legends Gaming, you know,
we'll get stable, a little bit more stable observers.
You know, even though they've got the ticket, we know that they've got the passion, the power. You know, it's not a great start for them, Gino.
Well, I think the only other thing came to mind about why they might have changed POIs potentially.
I think sometimes it's funny looking back when I was playing more, like a little bit more Apex.
So, I don't know, like,
and I tried to convince myself to learn it on MNK, because I just recently switched over to PC. And now, like since then, everyone's more and more switching to controller. I'm like, I should just play this game on controller.
You know, completely breaking new ground for ALGS. So, you know, potentially that sort of playstyle works better from, you know, some different POIs there. So that's the only other thing I can think of. But yeah, honestly, you know, I think they'd have to get 19th or 20th, and Makers have to come first for them to drop first place and not get the $20,000 for coming first place in Split 2 here. So, like, you know, they could have picked Cliffside and, like, Dome, and I honestly still think they would have been fine.
Just want to point out, Gino, they are in 19th place right now. So,
that's
like,
true.
it sounds unbelievable, but, mate, you know what? Makers wins this next game. Legends goes out. We're off to the races, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's very true. You know, you kind of think, you know, they've got this in the bag, but you guess you kind of forget about the dollar signs behind it as well. You don't really want to drop out of that spot.
Yeah, I get the Power A controllers that have the remappable buttons on the back.
Exactly like these legend picks, because we've been talking about how this meta has absolutely just been flipped on its head, which has been crazy. Still Bangalore out in front. You know, we're still going to see Bangalore be quite a chosen pick along with Watson.
What's interesting is I feel like we don't see that much Watson in NA and EMEA.
These crazy picks, you know, Gino was just talking about Vantage. Do you have any reason why you feel Vantage might be, you know, back into meta or into meta for the first time?
I got to be honest with you, Lace, I have absolutely no idea, because the thing is, like, these teams all...
Yeah, I will say that neither of mine have lasted that long. If I was able to buy, like, a good controller...
Valkyrie, and it's like, why have we got a Valkyrie? Well, I don't know, maybe these guys just like to rotate a little bit more, something like that. Why have we got a Newcastle? You'd have to talk to the team specifically about how they want to be making those compositions work, and what kind of comfort they have and what kind of play style they want to bring to the table, right? It is just something to do with what they are feeling is good on the day and what they're feeling comfortable with. One thing that I wanted to actually point out coming into this, and it's not reflected on this graphic, but it will be if we were to look at it going into the next game. We've got the 40 out of 40 picks so far for the Bangalore today. That's actually going to change up going into World's Edge, assuming we get the same picks coming through to the next lobby, because SWQ are the first team that have not chosen a Bangalore. They've gone Crypto, Watson, Wraith for this next game. At least that was the intention that they had. So, you know, we may see 59 out of 60 for the Bangalore picks going into the next game. So that'll be an interesting one. I think that's the first time we haven't had a Bangalore, basically,
yeah, that's
all
very
season.
true. Now, I do want to say that I was sort of ducking around Designful from DSG, and I was sort of going, Vantage, what's the pick? So this has just come to mind. And he said it's to create a little bit of space for themselves because he said point blank, I want to pop someone right in the face when they run up to me. So that was the reason behind Designful picking Vantage, just to be able to get that epic damage that, you know, Vantage's ultimate ability has, Genome. So
I have always been worried about wireless controllers as going to PC with the
teams are picking
input on it.
Vantage.
Well, essentially... Okay, so
personally,
we're starting with the umbrella of the recon heroes, right?
That I know. I'm the type of person that I'd lose the control if it's not plugged in.
You've got a couple of choices.
If we're being real.
With Bloodhound, not so great anymore. The threat vision doesn't penetrate Bangle or Smoke. What's the point? You're really relying on the scans. If you're relying on the scans, why not just go for Seer? That's why you're seeing a lot of teams pick up that character now. Vantage offers a couple of good things here. Not so much, honestly, like on the upgrade sides. It's really the base kit for Vantage. I mean, they're having Ringmaster of, you know, that kind of puts her in the same consideration as Fuse, in that all of a sudden it doesn't matter where you go on the map, you can get ring console scans, you can get survey beacon scans, and that allows you more evo and more information if you're a team who's rotating in a little bit later. But it's also that base kit where you know, you've got the sniper as her ultimate there, and it actually amps up the damage from your team, right? It's one of those like cute little things that we don't really talk about a lot because, you know, obviously she hasn't been on ALGS before, but 15% extra damage.
We've been live for an hour and 22 minutes and we played 2 games.
Mark, as well as getting that info about how many members of their team are up and what color armor they've got as well. So there's just a lot of information and advantage, and it's really good for anchor players, which is why even on Legends Gaming, you're seeing Player K, for like the first time ever, give the Watson over to Easy Flash.
Easy Flash, I didn't even see. Easy Flash is, you know, generally the one that's sort of running around and, you know, taking down whatever's left of a team. So that's actually quite exciting to hear. You know, I guess, you know, all these teams sort of come in and want to change things a little bit, but, you know, in regional finals, it's kind of crazy.
That's an interesting dynamic I didn't think about.
All the different
I didn't notice even.
And then
I didn't realize they were still playing Watson.
Just do crazy stuff with it. So, you know,
Easy Flash on Watson is an interesting choice. I feel like you would want him on something that's a little bit more of an aggressive pick, but you would imagine what Strafing Flame's still on the bank, right?
I still feel like teams are trying to figure it out because we've got some Newcastles in there as well, you know, against, you know, getting a few Seers and a few Cryptos. But we're going to take ourselves over to the World's Edge Beacon. So we're going to see exactly where our teams have selected. You know, we have been talking about Legends Gaming and their pick on Storm Point, where they chose the wall, where they could take Cedo, but, you know, they took Skyhook West, Genome. So that is their first chosen POI.
Well, they certainly didn't get the points on Storm Point, did they? So
the Legends pick here.
Legends first pick of Skyhook West here works out for them.
Yeah, I could probably still do a little bit better
the split 2 here
memory on that. I really...
That's because a lot of different teams have been picking it. And I think this split, if anything, has said that, you know, it really is more about your team than it necessarily is about a POI.
Yeah, and I also want to have a look at Grape Soda. They, I think, managed to have Zeus Station on Storm Point, and they get Siphon West on World's Edge, Elfish. I feel, and like looking at their draft picks, I think they've got it pretty good.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the one team that was really interesting, obviously, was GK getting Big Mord, and it's like, that's not too shabby as literally the last pick that you could possibly have had. I don't know. I guess we'll have to sort of see how things do shape up here. But for me, I feel like most teams have actually ended up pretty happy with how things have played out. I think this draft system has actually been a great success, honestly. Like, I wasn't too sure about it, to be honest with you. I was a bit like, oh, this doesn't really line up too nicely for me. But I like this from the production. Let's see what we get. Is it going to be 19 Bangalore picks?
16 Bangalore.
It is.
No, 19. Okay.
Surely not the 20th.
This is live happening right now, I think, as the pick in Game 3 is going on. So, yeah, it looks like they have stuck with it again. I mean, it wasn't quite 100%. I went back and had a look. I think it was something like 95+% for Bangalore. So yeah, just been ridiculously popular so far this
See,
week.
I've played some PvE, PvP games in the past, and I've enjoyed them.
Definitely maybe a sought-after character on.
It just seemed to me that the pace on Tarkov is meant to be a little bit more deliberate, and I just do not have patience.
Well, so I'm going to be very excited to see that one unfold. But let's take it away. This is finally game number 3, everybody. Thank you for being so patient, and we'll join you over on World's Edge. Let's take it away.
Okay, let's get going once again, and I'll pose that same question to Legends. Can they manage to turn their day around and prove to us why exactly they have gone to Skyhook West as the first pick of any point of interest on any map? Well, this will be the game to do it in, because teams, they're not quite at that position where it's like getting really dangerous, but, you know, one big game for Heroes or MDY or even Vegas Inferno or X and Y might be able to get them actually over that.
I was saying, I mean, we could have teams on match point by the time we go back to Storm.
Find themselves like a 20 kill win here.
Yep. Would be kind of wild.
It's always it's always talking.
Imagine after APAC North had a marathon last night and went, what they go, chat, 13, 14 games? APAC-South is one of those that's like done before Game 6, and Game 6 is literally just replacement.
I mean, we're getting a lot of, you know, sort of debate circles from World's Edge. Maybe it pulls back down to Grandma's house there with the survey beacon on it. But I guess we'll just have to see. So fun to see all the variety in our legend picks across the board there. And just to touch on 2 of those points about the draft, the POI draft that we were looking at before, Elfish. The reason Grape Soda managed to get Siphon, and I think it
running
was
stamina
like,
stems to keep running, huh?
Pick overall was that they had threatened to contest, and obviously, you know, we did see them contest this earlier in the split and do very, very well. So,
buddy of mine was just casting Tarkov at the EU TwitchCon.
Throw it all down against any
I didn't realize they were doing like tournaments for that still.
Very well in terms of Grape Soda's draft here. And the other one was around that Big Max, Big Mort and Stacks interaction.
I like that. That's actually a good shout.
Yeah, look, maybe my stomach's talking instead of you know, the rest of me right now. But Makers have made their way from Stacked. They've negative rotated down to Dome to pick up some extra Evo down there. And actually, Evo's Predators are flying in on top of them. So who knows? We could get a very early fight very far away from the ring right now.
That is wild. I was just about to mention that because I'm looking at the map as well, and I've seen Evo's Predator heading directly at them. I don't know. We'll talk about that if we get that on the main feed. But that does seem to be a fight that's kind of brewing down in the Dome. In the meanwhile, a lot of teams obviously rotating their way up in towards Survey Camp, which is where the next couple of rings are going to be headed. War Monster, Firebird, one of those teams with the info early. And so they'll be on that rotation pretty quick smart as well. But they've been beaten to the punch by MDY, by SWQ, Vegas Inferno, have all kind of made that rotation into Survey Camp a little faster. So they're set up inside the buildings. And now War Monster, Firebird don't really have anywhere to actually go and like lock themselves down into. So they're sort of milling around outside the buildings and getting a little bit concerned about some shots coming through, perhaps from Heroes who are in the train tracks. And so War Monster, Firebird just going to back off in the meanwhile.
Well, there's 2 buildings free, but they've got no Pathfinder. They've got no
Stretch
towers.
now, waking
so
up,
like,
man.
How do you get there? Can you safely rotate into one of those? And they decide to go backwards, actually. And
plus, I know if I stay sitting for a while, after leg day yesterday, I'm going to stay sitting all day, and I can't be having that.
These teams potentially banking on it being, you know, I call it a pretty old school circle if it does end up pulling towards the...
Whenever this gets done, we got to go get our first push day of the weekend, you know?
Heroes playing at the tunnel, and then you've got Guild looking over at Bear Claw Gaming, sitting above the train track. So this is an important position to fight for.
MDY is out.
Yeah, I think it was only the 1 member left alive in the caravan in the middle of Survey Camp. So Looks like Morgenstern has gone down as well.
I'm surprised at how much early fighting we're seeing in APAC-South.
How well MDY have started the lobby. Oh, sorry, not the lobby.
And with that, though, it's never like full commits in a fight.
This game didn't go very well for them, it has to be said. But again, most teams will be happy to see MDY going out early because it's just one less team that might be able to threaten a match point a game earlier or a couple of games earlier. It's kind of important to be keeping that in mind. Even more so for these teams today than in any other particular day. You kind of do need to be looking at who's actually in a position to maybe go to match point. Obviously, then once they get there, you have to be aware of that as well. So, can be a lot of mental gymnastics having to go on.
Yeah, until you're waiting until you have 16 teams on it, like we saw in APAC North this morning.
Only for the day so far.
Fucking wild.
Hasn't come together for these guys. Getting stuck in some awkward fights. But they'd be hoping that World's Edge is going to bring a little bit of a wind of change with it.
So with the Climatizer looking endpoint, the good news for a team like Legends Gaming who has a northern zone needing a big game, one, they should be able to loot up pretty decent at Sky or Skyhook, and then they should be able to still rotate over this way pretty quick.
Getting the call-outs there on the banners on World's Edge to tell them how many teams nearby. Crypto perks, not something that we've had to, you know, think about a lot or chat about a lot previously, but they are coming into their own here in the regional finals.
A bit of a slower game on World's Edge than what we've been seeing on Stormpoint so far. Maybe not quite as egregious of a circle pull. There's a lot of space still available. YoBo taking their time in Fragment. GK doing the same around Epicenter. One thing that also kind of interests me, of course, is Legends are still just chilling in Skyhook West. Keep up to date with how they're going, of course, as the day goes on.
Yep, definitely playing it slow. And I think so far they've struggled because of something that we you know, we heard Yanli's mention.
Is this ending closer to
teams are going to play harder? They're going to play safer. They're going to play
the mountain that separates here, like where the tunnel is.
More on the line here, and it changes the way that these lobbies function. And so Legends going for this late rotate style here. As you see Dreamfire waiting. Ooh. Oh, the pre-fire. Even getting the lots of
the pre-fire from Dreamfire.
Portal coming out there from probably YoBo.
YoBo or SWQ are the only teams that have the Wraith. SWQ are also
right.
in the survey camp. So yeah, I was going to say might have been SWQ in the end. YoBo still haven't really quite made their way out of Fragment just yet. But either way, nothing really to come off that engagement. Final Dream now trying to make their way in, and they are going to run into LGD, though it's a sort of a three-way split here from LGD. They've already lost Mingyue as well, so LGD actually going to have to hightail it. Feiju going down the hill is being farmed and surely just going to be picked up right here, but Aimbot maybe not living up to the name. Hasn't quite managed to get that knock, though. Feiju will still go down. And so that is pretty much curtains for LGD now, as they are down to a solo and outside of the zone as well. So not a fun place to be.
Tough for Feiju to go down there.
Makes it a little bit easier when you get the.
Looks like SWQ's in a fight with Dreamfire potentially.
Trying to get away. Doing the recon for his team.
That was that Wraith portal that we saw earlier.
Now as the circle does pull even more north. Now we're getting heroes looking in on Legends. They come in from Skyhook East here. Obviously Skyhook West where they're playing
come on,
from.
Legends.
Trials is exactly the kind of POI that you want to.
Oh, Legends gonna be getting shot in the Astromech and Y too.
So they come in on purples here against the mostly blues of heroes.
Legends are being as patient as they possibly can.
Yeah, so Strafing Flame still on the bang.
Don't want to wait too long though. X and Y are on the backside here, and they've started chucking in some shots. The Nemesis now just tickling Strafing Flame, and they can't see the gen. So actually, JR's Fuse ult is wasted. Luckily, zapped away from the safety of the interception pylon there. That does mean that time is
Bro, honestly, I love how they've like allowed Watson to be such a staple in their composition for so long.
Either, or they're going to get the crossfire.
Well, Guild have lost Empty in the meanwhile.
Guild's in trouble.
Just a duo, and that isn't going to last very long because Jesco's going to be dropped as well. Legacy is hightailing it. Trying his best to survive, but as the sole member now remaining, it's not going to be an easy task. Legends, on the other hand, are going to turn their attention back around onto X and Y. Surely this is just not going to work out for Legends at the moment. Trying to hold strong behind that pylon, but they're being pushed by multiple teams. Smokes down in their way, causing a bit of an issue, but they have a bit of a moment of respite. Let's have a listen in and see how Legends are feeling.
Come on, man.
Fight plays out.
Come on, boys.
Chill first. You need a Gen. I can res. Gen in front of us, and then I can res, okay?
Yeah.
Gen, I'm resing. I've got knock res. Can I stick? I'm sticking. They're not gonna push us. Just relax.
Nice gold res. God, they're so fudged here.
I'm shielding.
All right, well, pretty doomed one for Legends, and unfortunately there was nothing they could really do there. Stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Bottom 5, all 3 games.
Turns out to be a 0-point game.
I mean, Strafing Flame's confidence in himself and his calls is one of the strengths of him and this team, but you can see there, they're not going to push us. Unfortunately, it doesn't mesh with reality, and Heroes will finish that one off, and as you say, continue an awful streak as Legends gain here.
Oh my god!
Urgency, with the locked-in.
Shut up. Oh my god, low-key.
That's going to be the end of Makers as well. So
they just didn't see him at all. He just pooped all over him.
Out early here on World's Edge. Dreamfire floating around there as well. I can see them getting active. Back and forth, you can see on the map there through the Wraith portal, but Zone's going to continue to pull it in onto Survey Camp. I don't know if do you kind of get the sense now? I wonder if this is fair to bring up.
Hey, you know what? For again, Legends, get their bad series out of the way before land.
Same vein as Reignite,
you know what I mean? If it's got to be in regional finals where it means you drop us, you know, out of first, whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Although they'd have to drop out of first, and MKers or Makers would have to have still a pretty. So, like MKers, I think would have to like finish at the top.
And some other things, and it's a weird time to do it. But as we said, they've played so well.
In order for Legends to lose their spot,
they can afford to.
Fair enough. Well, Weibo can't really afford to be having many more bad games if they want to be staying in the hunt for a spot at LAN. Final Dream getting eliminated at the hands of Weibo. They haven't done a bad job of like putting 1 or 2 points on the board per game, but they haven't really been missing out on those big games that we're used to seeing from them. And this may start to have the makings of one of those games. They're kind of starting to work their way through Epicenter, clearing out a couple of teams. Guild Esports in the meanwhile do get shafted, and that was
Guild's
more or less
also been having a relatively quiet day for Legacy. I mean, I know they have a new
quite a while.
IGL and whatnot, but you would figure it was for a team that's top, what, 6?
Well, teams just following the ring as it moves in. Who's going to come out on top? Weibo already taking a loss now, and I think this one is going to go the way of GK.
Yeah.
Although I guess they are sitting in 8th, so like...
It's looking very good there for Weibo anymore.
They're so far behind.
Really, it has to happen... Oh, there we go. Weibo done. It really has to happen in the most perfect way it possibly could, right? They have to win this lobby or they don't make it to LAN. They just don't have any possibility of making that catch up on points happen today. So they're sort of floating around. I think they were 7th or so that we saw on the scoreboard. So good game here. Get into the match points. And you might be off to the races, but again, still sort of feels like early days here. Game 3, we're not really having anyone press towards 50 points just yet. Heroes is up on 28. And they're still alive in the northern side of the train tunnel, which is not a bad spot to be in at the moment, but next zone shift is going to push them out. So I don't imagine that we're really going to see them get another 22 points from here from this game.
I mean, that's a big ask from any game, really, isn't it? Yeah, with this going, it's actually south of the tracks here, so we will be seeing
All right, so running the ads where I ran them doesn't get us to a game, so we still have to make sure we're doing them at some point during the game. I should be able to delay them at least to the end of this one, though.
Jump up the rocks north of Survey Camp, but if you've played enough, if you've practiced enough, you know how to get on top quickly and safely without having to sacrifice too much time. Oh, shark. Yes, please. I'll take one of those.
Yeah, that was very nice indeed. Well, once the Firebird needs
so none of our big hitters are still left this late in game number 3.
We're talking about having to now start thinking about making.
Oh no, I lied.
Were they to push out of here, they would have to go past X and Y, and then they'd also have War Monster Firebird on their south. So X and Y on the north, War Monster Firebird on their south, and then BK Gaming out to the east.
I thought when I was seeing like the 7th place team,
this
so
is a
I
gauntlet run
did
if I've
not
ever
see
seen
this.
one from Heroes. I don't know how they're going to make this one work. But
first one, I thought GK was the first team
inside of those smokes. The coverage of the smokes is good enough for now to keep them alive, and X and Y are just copy shots from everywhere. Maybe their smokes have started to fade. This is the opportunity for Heroes. They get rid of X and Y, they take their position away, but that may be out of the frying pan into the fire, so to speak. It is the end of Heroes as well. Has to be said though, nice to gain another 1 or 2 points out of a very sticky situation. So life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, and you do the best you can. War Monster Firebird also trying to do the same. And a res here would perhaps be wishful thinking.
I mean, they're sitting in #1 spot overall. You can see that Las Vegas Inferno, with a couple of consistent games, are now threatening to overtake them. That said, they're not in the best spot. They are the furthest from this final circle of anyone left in the lobby. Talking about gauntlets, Las Vegas Inferno are about to have to run theirs. That said, they might have an opening. Kill Devil in a fantastic... They're the ones in God spot up here just firing.
So Las Vegas Inferno could potentially be putting themselves upwards of 40 points after 3 games.
And help out a team like Las Vegas Inferno.
There's a good chance of it here.
Grab that crossfire that will allow them a path into that final circle, but Kill Devil are just doing their best right now to make sure everyone else is feeling under pressure on the walk-in.
Under pressure.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Las Vegas Inferno are going to have to really make this timing a good one. And actually, I really don't mind that. The fact that all 3 of them have made it across that zipline is an absolute miracle as far as I'm concerned. But they make it, so that's 1 step of the way. Still got a little bit further to push their way in, but still got a little bit further to push their way in. They've been able to find that reset, and they can actually kind of take the fight. Oh, Killer Pulse has gone straight into the thick of things.
Every time I open that thing, it tries to do that.
Picked up straight away. So SWQ, a little bit worse for wear at the moment. GK down to YoBoy. It is getting very
Something
messy.
to keep in mind is about Las Vegas Inferno with where they're sitting right now. They are one of those teams outside the top 7.
Be involved in this fight.
Could potentially be getting Dreamfire or Guild.
No hesitation.
The Bootskis.
Perhaps a little bit more confidence than they deserved, but they're trying their best here to whittle down the teams.
No Name just going to try and pick up a couple of extra points on the back
Speaking
end
of
there,
Dreamfire,
confirming the kills that he's gotten. Ducked down behind that shield, and maybe with this 1v1, it's getting very close. The 30 comes out, gets the job done. Dreamfire might just have enough time to find those two
they should be able to
revives
reset
while all
off
the
that.
other shenanigans are happening outside. Everyone's a little bit too busy to focus in on Dreamfire and come in for that third party. I think they might actually make it. Yeah, they've got all 3 up.
The reset from Dreamfire is insane, but meanwhile, the fight for God spot has been going on, and BK
because everyone else is kind of concerned with one another.
Massive shield advantage. Reds over blues at the start of that one will not come out on top, so Kill Devil leverage their position to the absolute maximum here, and will grab the resets. Gold Knocks coming out of the boxes here to help them get on even faster, and as you say, a couple of other squads, including Dreamfire now, making their way towards them.
No Name is farming at the moment. I'm surprised no one pushed Kill Devil there. They were also able to get that full reset. There's 3 players back up. Las Vegas Inferno sitting in the center of the zone, trying to sort of hunker down. Dreamfire's the only one that's really trying to force the issue at the moment. You can tell why.
Push.
Shots coming through. 3MZ.
3MZ's
down as well. It is now just 3MZ, and he is done. Dreamfire out. Kill Devil remaining alongside Bearclaw Gaming. Yeah, but Bearclaw are down to 2 members, so this should be a pretty straightforward one for Kill Devil. Over the top, Eva 8, it is crunching away at that last player, and Kill Devil will take match number 3. Still, as of yet, no one hitting that match point eligibility. but maybe next game. We're kind of getting close.
Wow, what an epic game. Number 3. That was absolutely exciting. I'm literally on the edge of my seat there for Dreamfire. That is crazy. What an epic fight they had against
That's selfish, don't you know?
and then managed to get a reset there. I really feel like they are back, baby. They want to take to the stage. They want to make it again in the sights of everybody. So, you know, that was a huge game from them. Obviously, they got to sort of creep their way up the leaderboard. But, you know, they had such passion in game number 3. So, you know, it's really awesome to see Dreamfire hone in and be able to be, you know, one of those teams to fight for the top. But, of course, we can't take that away from Kill Devil, who just took out the win in that game. What a goddamn match 3. But Elfish, take us through this section here. This was a big hold-on fight for Legends Gaming.
Yeah, big old mess really for Legends. Like they just kind of got themselves stuck in that corner,
So we
didn't
have
they? And there wasn't
like
the problem with
5
that
teams
position
at
for
25
them
points
at
or
that
more.
time
6
was that they
teams
don't
at
have
24
any
points or more.
ability to play proactively, right? Like they don't get to choose at all how that fight plays out. They really are at the mercy.
But the good news is, since no one's really soaking up a shit ton of points right now, I mean, for a team like Legends, you wouldn't be surprised to see them pop off for a 20, 25 point game.
If neither team pushes us, we still can't do anything because as soon as we leave this corner, we die. So there's no good choice there, unfortunately, for them, apart from maybe not be in that corner to begin with. But, you know, that's obviously not really, like, that's not the answer to the equation there, unfortunately, for them. So, yeah, a little bit stuck and didn't really come together for them. So, 4 points for the day for Legends, and they're now sitting in 20th. So, you know, maybe that funny world where Makers takes the win and Legends takes a 19 or 20 is potentially a reality. The only issue, of course, with that is Makers is also not having a great day. They're actually in 15th right now, so it's yeah, a bit of a rough run actually for our top 2 teams of the regular split.
Yeah, and I feel like this generally happens. This happened in Split 1. You know, some of our top hitting teams sort of shaking in their boots a little bit or getting a little bit complacent and just, you know, going, we might have this. Paves the way for, you know, the likes of Kill Devil to sort of reach their way to the top. But you know what? They get 6 kills for them and a win. Moves them up about 6 places, I think. So they're going, you know, a little bit closer to the top there. Of course, we still probably don't have anyone on, you know, match point just yet. It's only been 3 games, but Bear Claw are coming to play as well with 2nd place and 9 kills. That's huge from them. But I'm gonna go over Dreamfire. They just had such an epic game.
Dreamfire had a pretty solid game. They're sitting down in 8th right now, though.
To see them sort of move up, it would have been about 7 places, so 18 points for them. But Vegas and Ferdo still take over the lead of Heroes with 33 points. Elfish, of course, we're not there yet at the 50, but they are very much on their way.
Yeah, really getting quite a number of teams close to that match point eligibility. You know, it's
I feel like Vegas Inferno, for being at the top, we haven't really heard much about them today.
Like, okay, let's just say 6, because MDY, 24 points, like you can potentially go for 26.
You know what I mean?
In one game and have that be considered a good game. Yeah, it's definitely a good game, but it's not like a huge game. So it's definitely becoming more and more likely, though I'd say the odds are still maybe a bit of an outside chance that we get it done in 4 for at least for the match point eligibility. I think we're probably more so looking at 5, with perhaps the 6th game being the first one where someone can potentially finish things off. It's been quite a even lobby, if that makes sense, right? Like, it's been very spread. There hasn't been one team or 2 teams that have really felt like they've dominated. It has been a bit shared around, you know, so you'll kind of tend to see that reflected, obviously, on the scoreboard in the sense that
I guess we did talk about Vegas Inferno with the 9 kill, 2nd place finish in game number 1.
We've actually got quite an even spread, 33 all the way down to 24 for the first 6 teams. So it's only 9 points gap between 6 teams. It is being quite evenly spread across the bunch of teams.
Yeah, like, you know,
and then when you look at 7th through
Gaming on the bottom, usually they're at the tippity top.
14th.
But you know, like we've said, they've got themselves
it's another 6 point like margin
so
there.
I feel like they're trying something maybe a little bit new going into this. It's not really working out for them, so maybe revert back to the original Legends Gaming triumphs. But you know what? Seeing, I guess, even Weibo, you know, Elfish, we were talking about them.
I feel like you still stick to your iteration this time around on
I don't know how
World's Edge, just so you've got a full 2 games on both maps. But then, yeah, I think if you're Legends, I think you might consider going back to the old comp to round out the rest of regional finals here.
对比上赛季，我觉得这赛季我做的提升应该是对战场和队友的一些 一些放心程度或者是相信，就是有更高的提升，还有对自己的一些战斗想法有更好的把握，这是我对比上赛季的提升。因为我们3个相当于就是一个从最开始到
It's interesting how much we have
一起携手走过
seen
来的。我们3个人对彼此都有一种放心程度，然
teams
后
mentoring
也
or
许是
mentioning
怎么说呢？
like
能一起走到
understanding
今
all the
天这样的话，我
roles
觉得应
as
该
a
就
player.
是我们3个人的，可能就是怎么说呢？打得舒服吧。我们3个怎么说？就是我们3个人相当于打得比较舒服一点，所以换队友这个东西，一是舒服，二是觉得感觉，因为我们玩得很好，所以，我不知道怎么说，你懂吗？但是意思是大概这2个意思。我觉得狗子的改变对于现在的 meta 就相当于是一个大换血，但是怎么说呢？还是我觉得一些个人理解非常强
I
的
mean,
玩
I
家
guess at its core, that's
还
a
是
pretty
能
good
超出
point.
自己想要的一些，
Eh?
就我觉得没有什么
It's
太大
still
的改变，
Bangalore with the
就是
scan
还是
character
烟味
and a ring
烟味
character.
加一个碳圈位，再加一个信息位。我觉得，最近这2个 meta 它一直都是这个阵容，就没什么太大改变，就是改变只是传奇。我想我会请我的队员们吃顿饭吧。
I love the Fuse skin. Top tier, really. Hey, 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 hey. To change to Elvish. Oh no. Hey, nah, but why is this break music gotta slap so hard? Yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Throw your motherfucking hands in the air. Nah, this intermission music does not have any right slapping this hard, chat. All right, so we're getting ready to go one more go round on World's Edge.
Welcome back, everyone. The
All right,
passion is
chat.
real here in APAC-South as we are in the regional finals. That was only game number 3. Are we going to get 6 games, Elfish? Maybe 7? Potentially 12? Who knows? I guess it's
We had 13 in APAC North, baby. Let's run it up.
We do have Vegas Inferno itching a little bit closer there at 33 points, with Heroes just trailing behind at about 30, Elfish. So, you know, are we going to see maybe a potential win from Vegas Inferno? I think they would only need, what, 17 points, so that's a win and a bit of KP there just to get that threshold.
A win in 5.
You know, we might even see Legends Gaming bring it back.
Man,
let's see the
really
boys from Legends Gaming pop off here, bro.
I'm so passionate about them.
Let me get a 15 kill win from Legends Gaming here.
Legends Gaming.
They are, but they're also only on 4 points today, so
yes.
Something's not really coming together, that's for sure.
Not only
way,
4
yeah,
points,
I mean,
but
this game
0
could be the one that puts
placement
us over the
points
line.
is
It
the
would
big
really
thing
have
for
to
me for
be
Legends through 3 games.
More than likely Vegas Inferno or Heroes probably to do that. Kill Devil down to MDY, a little bit more of an outside shot, but still perhaps in the discussion if they have a big game. And further on from there, I don't know. I don't think that, you know, SWQ is really going to have enough to be able to get 31 points. That's, yeah, you're really I don't know. Maybe Dreamfire could do it. I'll give Dreamfire like a 1%er. But yeah, look, to answer your question, are we going to get 6 games? I think at this point, it's pretty safe to say we will get. Well, I mean, we're always going to get 6 games, I guess. But the context being, are we going to get 6 games where it actually matters? Well, yes. I think we're probably going to get to that point where on that 6th game we haven't actually found a winner yet. Up to 12, maybe that's a bit more of a stretch of the imagination. But the way things are going today, like this feels kind of slow
never
in
know.
the sense that we've
never
spread the points
know.
quite across the board. So it's not as if there's like one team where you're like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to be like match point eligible next game. They're going to have a couple of cracks at it before anyone else gets to match point.
Although I'll tell you what,
get to like game 6, and then there's going to be like 3 or 4 teams.
Vegas Inferno find a way to get on to 50 points
by one
without having a win.
Tend to see in these match point lobbies. So overall,
then they'll be like due for a
early
dub.
days. It kind of feels like we're probably in for the long haul tonight, I would say.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
It was a split one. We had, I think it was about 7 or 8 teams match point eligible, and then I believe it was Serenity that came in to add more to that. So it carried on to another game, and I think we had about 10 or 11 games. So
11 teams.
Yeah, you're very true. It could be anyone's way. But as we take a look at some stats here, bring it back to Pathfinder is Lahim and doing a good job of it as well. But that's not without to say Newcastle, being picked up here as well. Elfish by Vegas Inferno, who are at the
I still say, and I have said from day one, that
look, honestly, I don't think that
Newcastle brings so much undervalued
match point formats, right? Because in a lot of cases, you may, if you are Las Vegas Inferno here, get to 50 points and you're on that match point eligibility.
Underrated value.
You can sometimes just get into a position which is just unplayable, right? And there's nothing you can do about it. And Newcastle can really help you with that. And if that's the difference between you just getting knocked out and being like, okay, well, we got kind of cooked by the circle luck there, and having a bit of portable cover and maybe having a bit more playable terrain as a result of that, and giving yourself a bit more of an opportunity to win that game, then yeah, that's an option. But on the other side of that coin, you kind of have to recognize that if we're the only team picking Newcastle, and we're also the first team that's going to make it to match point eligibility, anytime anyone sees a Newcastle, they are going to kill us. That is going to be their objective. There's no, we should maybe think about maybe not fighting this team, this or that. It's like, well, we have to kill them, otherwise game's over, day's over. So that's potentially something that might come into play when they do hit match point eligibility, but that'll be maybe not a conversation for another couple of hours or so.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's very true. I guess we sort of forget about Newcastle having that res and sort of being able to move. You put a gold shield on that. It is quite hard to sort of get through the barrier. And what teams generally have to do is full send that team to eliminate it. So yes, Newcastle's kind of out of play and not having a gun to prove it, but being able to back it up with a gold shield is just incredibly hard to take down. So, they're cooking up something for us. So let's find out what our teams are cooking now. We're going to head back over to World's Edge.
All right.
Game number 4. Will Vegas Inferno get match point eligibility? Let's find out now.
17 points required of Las Vegas Inferno and 20 points for Heroes. Gets a little bit
Teams have
more
already dropped
from
in. They're fighting?
Grape Soda into Tree. Going to have a little bit of a fight. We talked about their early game contests, and here's another one.
The Grape Soda special. We've seen them do this before. They take the south siphon spawn, not the north one. And that, of course, means that if they want, they can just go straight to those buildings at the bottom of Tree and push it straight at whoever's there. In this case, unfortunately for them, happens to be Remarkable Team.
Yes.
It is just Grape Soda just ate a Sentinel shot
out of the Sentinel.
face.
He's dropped low key. So there is going to be at least a little bit of revenge. But starting to cop some damage now. And at this point,
let
actually,
him pop off with this.
2 remaining members of Grape Soda do actually have to finish this off so that they can get the revive now. So they're going to try and chase him down. They will find him inside that smoke. And, well, it was a valiant attempt from Risk. It was a good shot, but it was not enough. And so Grape Soda do achieve what they set out to do. And they've got plenty of time to find that revive as well. So no dramas at all, really, as far as low-key is going down.
And that, my friends, is why you pick up the Sentinel in the early game. 1 shot. To the dome, it's all you need. Now, Eva's Predator, they're just across in launch site here. They just hit the survey beacon, by the way. So they know the Grape Soda have only just rocked back up into this. They would have scanned the 2 of them. And they've also pinged out the Evo Harvester here, so let's see if they want to take an early fight over towards Grape Soda. As you can see with the ring, looks like we are heading to Skyhook. Does that is that an advantage?
Here we go.
Legends Gaming who start there.
To start, this is the zone where Legends Gaming turns it around, baby. When you get the rings, you gotta capitalize. This is where they do it.
Taking that third ring scan, then making their way into the zone.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, because we do often see Legends being one of the teams that likes to rotate in a little bit later, slower than most other teams. They have that edge-heavy playstyle. So you would look at this and say, okay, well, maybe this is part of the reason why they've gone for Skyhook West, because we do get a lot of, honestly, a lot of pulls going to this position. I think on World's Edge, you know, for me, like, I don't know, I have no stats to back this up, no data, but like eye test wise, this is a zone that we see, I feel like, at least once a day, often multiple times a day. So you do get that pull a lot. So maybe there's an argument to be made that, yeah, we would like to get that pull, but I don't know that I necessarily disagree that this plays against kind of their playstyle that they choose to run.
MDY really wishing that the Crypto wasn't the one dead right now, so that he could just get the insta-res with the drone. But nonetheless, farming their own teammate for Evo. Evo is like a joke. Oh my lordy! Some more lovely Havoc shots coming out of XX there. You know, quite knock someone off that balloon, but they almost get that.
Bearclaw set up shop inside of Skyhook. Oh, SWQ going to go down very quickly indeed. They just disappeared. Okay. Well, a few more points for Bearclaw, who, to be fair, one of those teams that if they were to have a really big game here could actually get to 50. They've started it well with 3 points on the board to start it off and moved themselves up into third place overall. Either way, at this point in the day, any extra point is going to be appreciated, because how many times have we seen the team get some teams out of here? I can think of at least 2 instances.
Who's out?
There was one last season, and then there was the infamous Team Burger. Was it? They won twice in a row, and then they couldn't win. They won twice in a row to get to match point, and then they couldn't win for the rest of the day. That was a couple of years ago.
All right, Legends still
time. But
right,
yeah, every point matters, right? Because you just don't want to be that team that's stuck on 49, basically just kind of gate-kept for an entire game, where it's like, well, whatever points we get here beyond the first point literally are irrelevant. Not literally, because you can still get a bit of placement overall, but, you know, in the sense that you're wanting to chase first.
Yeah, no, that does suck. We'll definitely be keeping our eye, as usual, on all the time. A lot today, and probably not a team that a lot of people would have guessed might make it to match point first. It'd certainly be a surprise inclusion if they got over the top. I mean, they're not far off the pace in terms of just being in the top 7, right? Like even a first or a second, if they could secure that today, potentially enough to put them above, say, you know, Dreamfire or Guild Esports, who are on the lower end of the top 7 currently. And Guild not having a great day so far. They're down in 13th spot overall so far.
You're not going to net them too many points. In Las Vegas Inferno, we're 9th overall on the overall standings coming into today for the split. So, you know, I guess contrary to the belief that, you know, this is a team that you might not expect too much from, like, they actually had quite a consistent season. And what I was talking about earlier on when we were watching Storm Point still. And I was sort of saying, like, this is not a team that you really see, like, massive games from. So I don't think they, like, build up that reputation in maybe the same way that, like, a Weibo or a Dreamfire have done, even though they're also kind of inconsistent teams. But you kind of see them and you go, oh, they're a big threat. And, like, they are. But then again, maybe so is Vegas Inferno, but just in a different way. And actually, speaking of Dreamfire, he's able to get that knock on.
So GK's at the top of that middle pack, right?
Into Sky. Suffered a loss.
With their 18 points.
Doesn't look like it's going to be confirmed. So we might, well, just see that res and no harm done.
Yeah, it's so hard to push between buildings in Skyhook, right? So as long as you get inside, you can see Killer Pause playing it safe and popping the bat before he does go for the res. But unless they found an angle through those windows, seems pretty unlikely. As you can see, most teams are very happily just chilling by the fire on the couch in their building, in their apartment in Skyhook. And then you've got a couple around the edges. Makers who, you know, seen 17th overall today. They were actually my pick coming into this. They have not lived up to the hype thus far.
Where's Guild sitting at right now?
Choice, considering their
Guild slid down to 13th. Oof.
There's
We've got a couple of teams that are at the top that are struggling today.
Position to play from for exactly this reason. Very easy.
I wonder what the reasoning for that might be.
Worry about when you're sitting on top of Skyhook is making sure that you have enough ammo later on in the game. Tends to be a pretty much impossible position to push once the team is already set up the top here, and Watson fences are going to make that even more difficult. YoBo trying to follow suit.
Potential cause.
Charge rifle just ain't what it used to be, you know? Bring it back, that's what I reckon.
Look, as a player who's played a lot of hit scan FPS over the years, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of miss it.
Yep. Maybe Gugu missing it at this point as well. But no harm done really for YoBo.
All right, chat. We should be relatively quiet here for the next
the day in general.
Minute and a half. I am going to go ahead and run an ad so we don't get hit with one during the important part at the end.
To get them back in the conversation, which they are well and truly out of right now, and they say they're not really in the position to make it into the top 7 just naturally either, unless they substantially improve upon their lot in the next couple of games here. So could be YoBo, like, you know, a massive fall from grace from split 1 to split 2.
You know who else is not in the conversation?
There's probably a lot of teams.
I was going to say Ulti, the legend. And I was just wondering, we've seen such a crazy, you know, array of team comps and everything right now. If they hadn't have made that change, considering all the cryptos we've seen come back into the lobby, if they hadn't have made that change, that means you get hit by your own EMPs while you're in the void, while you're taking her void passage, would we have actually seen some crypto Ulti teams come out here in the finals? That's kind of fun to think about.
Who knows? We'll never get the answer to it. Makers, though, are potentially going to meet their makers as well. It's, I don't know, what's not coming together today for the top 2 teams in the lobby, which would be Legends and Makers. And another really tough go of things here as Ziki's going to be taken down. And you're running as a duo. Guild are floating around on the outskirts of this building, looking to cause some issues. I mean, look, Guild have been having their issues as well.
I mean, it was a very late rotate from Makers, as we saw, and it is a weird
Is this
time
closing more on the north side of Skyhook, though?
Where everyone else,
or is this where it pulls down towards that southwest side of it?
Has to move right now.
Like those bottom 3 houses.
They're just going to have their crosshairs on anyone flying in because they've got nothing else to do.
It might end up pulling like those 3.
Makers made themselves a target with the timing of their rotation there.
Guess you reap what you sow. Next ring pull going to be available in a moment. Very much going to be a Skyhook circle. There's no doubt about that at this point in time. And so it's going to be...
No, it is going to be pulling more that northwest side.
Yeah, we'll lose a couple of teams that may be making their rotation in a little bit too late. The likes of the SWQs that have already been taken down. But
I think Legends is in like the perfect building
inside of Skyhook, barring you know, a couple of teams still on the outskirts. Probably won't see that much fighting for the next couple of minutes or so.
To be honest,
rotation could cause some issues, but there's definitely still going to be room
honest.
Around, right? There's like a lot of debris and lots of walls and stuff, and even if you're not inside of a building, there's a lot of little nooks and crannies that are going to be playable for teams that do have to push their way in. But it does get quite chaotic a little bit later on with zones like this.
All right, Beast of the Hunt here for X and Y. Let's see him push in.
Each other, but not sure that's going to happen too much in the next couple minutes, but at least here, X and Y are into an engagement against Evo's Predator. It's the early 1-for-1 trade, but Fat Fifth is very low indeed. Gopgaps gets taken down onto the ground as well, and so it has to come down to that one-man clutch, trying to get through it. Shield causing a couple of issues, but Evo Predator do get eliminated anyway. And that is at the hands of X and Y, who clear out the countdown side of the zone. And will
should be able to get a reset and a refresh here before having to move as well. Ring 3 not even closing just quite yet.
So good little reset here available for X and Y, and some quality points on the board, up to 28 now.
As is so often the case in those 1v1s, it really just comes down to who's got the knockdown shield available. who can sit there and play from that position? Can you, flush the other player out? Because, just being able to crouch down there and, fire a couple of shots off whenever you decide. It's just the difference between the two players in so many clutch situations.
Yep, you can maybe get a reload off as well where you otherwise wouldn't.
Dun 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 dun.
Bow check in hand. Love it. Okay. And not a bad spot to have one either. X and Y, they will just have enough room to play here for the next zone as well, by the way. So they've got still a minute and a half of respite. But inevitably they're going to have to move, and that'll be where the issues do probably start to arise. Actually, on their way down at the moment, Heroes can't quite see them. There is a building in the way. That building that they're looking at, by the way, that Heroes are looking at right here, is occupied by a couple of teams. YoBo Gaming being one of them, and Final Dream the other. And that is also not a building that's inside of the next ring, so... Like we were talking about earlier, Gino, a little bit of a slower early game, but this mid and late game are going to be chaos.
Bro, there's
X and Y are in that
17
building now
teams
as well.
still left in fucking
in terms of who's actually
small part of Skyhook.
5, circle 6, guild.
And I was wrong about Legends having the best house.
That's the market and the buildings to the north of the market. Currently in the best spot. But yeah, with the 4 or 5 teams now stacking up on top of each other here. This one is about to get messy.
Really just waiting that 20 seconds for the zone to start to push. This is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, I thought Legends were. I thought this zone was going to be pulling more towards the south of that.
They're going to all have to move, and then there's that massive congregation of YoBo Final Dream, X and Y.
MK Maker's got a pretty decent spot as well.
YoBo's going to try and get on the move
early.
Both
of them are going to have to hold off quite a few teams
pushing
pulling
out
up
to try to drop a portal. Heroes here. Oh, going to be causing some issues. No way. How is he still alive? Hang on a second. Heroes, they got to be careful on their backs. There's going to be teams coming through from that portal as well. Kisans is going to get the knock onto Gugu. So Heroes are remaining solid for the moment.
Wow.
Nobody else actually has taken the portal. X and Y are going to take the a little bit more standard route, just using their 2 feet. And they get across actually much healthier into the bottom floor. So this could be problems for Heroes. YoBo do get eliminated in the meanwhile there, so their fortunes are not going to turn around too much in game 4. But X and Y, they keep pushing the issue. And they're going to secure some more points as well, which is fantastic because they are getting closer and closer to match point eligibility.
LVI have barely touched the rest of the lobby at this point. You can see teams starting to just drop like flies. We're off to the races here. Couple left in the middle towards the Skyhook, but these buildings over.
Not gonna lie, man, I am keeping a close eye on that kill feed up top.
Prime here as X and Y managed to pick up a couple of these kills, and look, honestly,
all right, Legends gonna
Bloodhound
pull up
scans
here,
come
third
in
party.
very handy to allow you to know, sound cues can be tough to read sometimes, so getting that exact information, whether they're above you, below you, can be extremely helpful. Legends finally seem to be picking up a few kills here, but are they good enough to take
there's
out
blue
X and
shields
Y?
versus red shields.
Yeah, the triple red certainly going to be a big benefit for X and Y. They've actually managed to get that knock onto player K to equalize that, which was on to XD.
Hold on.
X and Y, though, are really under the pump at the moment and just searching for an extra sort of point here or there. Oh, YC. Wisely holding his shots, but it's not going to matter. He's been chased down, and so X and Y do get eliminated. Another
if there's anyone you want left alive, it's easy flash.
Match point off of this game, which was a bit of a stretch, it had to be said for sure, but it was definitely doable. Now the last one, maybe that's in that conversation, is Bearclaw Gaming. 18 points still required from them. It's a bit of a stretch.
They're out. Unfortunate.
Okay, wow, so Maker's doing a good job there, picking off a couple of stragglers who were heading up from the southern buildings towards the market area. But now on round close, we're going to be seeing a good 4 teams try and make their way. They made little mazes for themselves out of the Watson fences to try and get through here. Who's going to come out alive?
Oh, VKG are looking pretty good to do it at the moment. I'm not so sure about Bearclaw Gaming, who did lose Fenfu a little bit earlier on in the piece there. MDY pushing it onto... Oh, never mind. VK Gaming get eliminated, by the way. MDY were pushing in onto War Monster Firebird, and they've dealt with that one.
Now they're going to play a duo.
Has it given the time for MDY to get the res? No is the answer, and my goodness, Bearclaw Gaming, LGD both out as well. And in the blink of an eye, we're down to 3 teams remaining. MDY with 14 points required. Do they have enough points left on offer to make it to 50?
I think they would need to essentially... No, I think they would need to win it and get all the kills. And they're the only team plays a duo.
Kills.
Respawn coming in.
Let's not do maths on stream.
Then you're going to get the Crypto ult to push Guild back into the building to... Should allow your teammate in.
Better game from them.
Good awareness from MT though.
Oh, sorry,
that's a big cancel.
Kills.
Now Asia's going to push out the other side here from Makers. Doesn't matter. MDY back to a full trio. Okay, hold on. Let him cook. Let him cook.
Done even better. They've managed to clean up so many on the southern side, but I thought they'd have more space to themselves. The way this fight is shaken out in the end does kind of mean that I think they'll probably have cover for the longest time out of all 3 teams, but the fact that MDY now are back up to full members, being able to get that res off, extremely important in this final battle.
Patience of virtue at the moment. Don't want to be that first team to have to move. I'd say you're probably right about Makers. They have a little bit more room to work with.
This is where Fuse just gets to be cheeky from range, bro.
Or Guild position.
This focus of attention is very important there. That's delaying time that MDY can use their ultimates, which they do have banked up.
XX getting knocked and finished by the Arcstars now as well. That is definitely bad news, and MDY, they very quickly follow suit.
Good bounce back game from Guild. We were just talking about them going into this game being down in 13th.
I mean, yeah, I give that all to MT, honestly, with the amazing timing on the Seer tactical, just reducing their options.
What is this, a horror game? Just a guy appears out of the smoke and all of a sudden you're in a fight. MT gets that initial knock, Makers down to just a couple.
Okay, here we go.
A fantastic game. Might not quite eventuate unless they can get those trades back on in. Legacy will drop. Yesco will drop as well. MT's essentially going to have to do it solo now. This would be all 3 kills going the way of MT. Ziki is given time to pop the bat. So too is MT. And he's looking for him, trying to find a scan. But doesn't really have much agency in this position. Has to climb over the wall, which makes it difficult to take that fight. So another time to try and pop a bat, which will be secured by MT, but his time is running out. He has to go over the top and commit. It's a rough fight, but he will not quite be able to win it anyway. So
I thought he just did that.
The victory after what was quite a solid game.
And that was a really tough one. I mean, MT's final position there to play that.
I thought MT just went over the fence and just dumped on his chest.
They made the most of it. Quite a few points there go towards Guild, but Makers also creeping up.
Yeah, well, finally, Guild and Makers, they're sort of joining the party, which is awesome to see. You know, Makers with those second, aren't they, or even the overall leaderboard? So, you know, a great game from them, but nothing like a skyhook pull, guys. I absolutely love this zone. Everybody got to sit in a building, and we just got to watch the action unfold. Teams dropping like flies. It is, you know, I know we get a little bit bored with this zone, but I just find it to be the most exciting, you know, where every team has to find a position. And, you know, as we saw, I think it was Makers, right? They sort of flew over everybody and got themselves into a position, if I'm not incorrect there, Genome, and they seem to take the win.
No, that's a fair point, right? They actually lost a member grabbing that position. We were talking about how late they got in there. It was ill-fated in terms of the timing, but in the end, that more than paid off because that position was so useful, both in terms of the kills they managed to pick up through the mid game, but also allowing them the safest walk into the end game, which yeah, was, you know, thanks to MT dealing with the third last team there, means they just they walk out with the win. So honestly, big ups there for Makers.
Yeah, well, this team, you know, they've got such cohesion, this team. Like, I don't even know how long Zicky, Aegis, and Dex have been playing together. I don't know if you've got the stats there, Genome, but, you know, they can definitely communicate their way through. But, you know, just having to hold this position by the wonderful Zicky here and, you know, a tough climb there, like you said, you know, for Guild. But nonetheless, that is still amazing for Guild to get that second place with 7 kills. That's going to bring them up into, you know, a much nicer position from the earlier matches today. But Makers with a huge 9 kills and a win. That is also going to bring them into contention, you know, to try and get that match point eligibility. You know, still, I don't think we have anybody there yet, but MDY doing just another good game. They took out the win in, I believe it was our first match, and getting a 3rd place is huge from them, Genome.
It is big, and, you know, that's why they're on top. They're sitting on top of the mountain right now, but it's a small mountain. It's only a 36-point mountain. You know, as you said, still a little ways away from summiting the match point eligibility. And, you know, considering we were, I think it was 33 points was the target at the start of this game from Las Vegas Inferno, we've only added 4 points to that total. So it's actually extremely close up the top here. This has the makings of a very exciting regional finals.
Yeah, maybe I cursed them. I did say they could potentially get, you know, a win and some points and then get match point eligibility. Sorry, Vegas Inferno. My bad. But you still got a couple of games to go. But, you know, still holding, you know, a nice position there. But I love this, Elfish. I absolutely love it when teams are very close together, because then it can be anybody's game when they finally reach those points. It's quite evenly spread, as we've seen here. But, you know, Guild Esports, they moved up, was it 6 spots, Makers 9 spots. So, you know, having these really heavy-hitting teams coming to play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually just having a bit of a look back at how this looks in comparison to last split finals. At this point in the day, 4 games done, we had teams that were, the highest couple of teams were at 41 points. So we're actually a little bit behind that as far as, you know, that 8 ball is concerned. But next game is where one team actually did manage to hit the match point eligibility. So game 5, I think it'll probably happen here, right? 14 points for a couple of teams. That's not too far away. Someone's going to do it here, and then going into game 6, we start to get going, I think.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We still got some more Apex action for you, but not without a short break. So we will see you right after it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, so it's an interesting last game. But we do now have 6 teams at 30 points or more. 8 teams at 27 points or more. So, while the top of the scoreboard didn't move much, we did have more people join the top of the scoreboard.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us here, it is the regional finals in APAC-South. We're sending through 7 teams, and that's to the Split 2 playoffs. I guess we've yet to have a team reach the match point eligibility, but we just finished our game number 4 with Makers taking out the victory, which gives them about 30 points So we're still going to have a couple of games, Genome, just to find out if any team will get there. But we've got Heroes at 36. We've got MDY at 36. But yeah, everything is super close.
Yeah, I mean,
four teams within a point
in a game, like 1, maybe 2 per game.
5 teams within 2.
Chances are we might not even have someone on match point by the next one.
That's exactly right. We might head into game number 5 and not have that, but let's take a look at some damage reports here and see exactly how our teams are performing. Not only are they doing extremely well and it's quite evenly matched, we love to see what each individual player is sort of dishing out here. Elfish,
wow.
Look at this. Advantage.
Wow.
That first time you've seen that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's one good argument to pick Vantage. These are not typically the players that you would say, oh, yeah, these are the guys that I would expect to see on this damage chart, right?
True.
Like, these are not the big names that we commonly see. So you got to give a shout out to all 3 of them, and sort of backed up by how well their teams are currently performing, right? Like, it is kind of refreshing to see, honestly, that we have something a little bit different to sort of speak to. And I wonder if that's actually going to translate now into a potential win for any of these 3 teams. I mean, X and Y and VKG probably don't need to finish the day with the win. And to be honest, Las Vegas Inferno, the way things are going right now, it looks like they might actually make it based on overall placement, regardless of whether they win the day or not. But hey, getting the dub is going to be a nice way to seal the deal.
And not just 3 players that we don't usually see up there, but 3 legends that we're, not necessarily used to seeing up there, and 3 different legends at that. So it's really cool to see, the anchors, the Vantages managing to, do that with the sniper's mark there, as well as the Fuse, who we know can pump that out with his abilities. But yeah, and the Watson as well. So it's not just like Bangalore, someone who's frontlining, someone who's running
easy
in there
flash
and...
Bangalore. Yeah.
Exactly. Finally some variety.
Yeah, it's great to have variety. Like we sort of touched on, our teams are like very close together here for the regional finals. So, everybody is putting in the work, and it's nice and, like you've said, refreshing to see characters that we don't generally see in these high-hitting damage stuff.
Are we getting an extra minute break here between
but yeah, I don't know, Gino, do you think any of our teams could hit match point eligibility? You're sort of talking about Makers being maybe the first one.
Because if so, I'm going to go change into my workout shorts.
Not even close. Elfish saying YoBo, not close. How are you feeling going in, I guess, match number 5 with Makers? I think that's what you selected.
Yeah, that was my guess. Yeah, as I said, we definitely can see someone on match point after this. It's just that, yeah, we've had such an even sort of mesh across the board that we won't necessarily get there. There's still, a good sort of 4 or 5 teams there who, if they win this game, maybe come second. They will make it. But yeah, they have to start performing now.
Yeah, well, there we go with our legend picks coming to you live for the first time as well. So, while we've finally got the 20 Bangalore picks again, Elfish, you called it last time with the 19. Now we've got all teams sort of selecting on them. I guess we're seeing maybe teams revert to a little bit of the original meta that we saw at the start of the split.
Yeah, it does seem to be just a World's Edge thing for SWQ, where they want to take the Wraith. Well, it's not even just the Wraith, actually. They change up the whole composition, basically. Yeah, I mean, they keep the Watson, but they don't have the Bang and the Blood. They have the Crypto and the Watson instead. So that's for World's Edge. But yeah, obviously we're going back to Storm Point now, so they bring the Bang and the Blood back.
Yeah, and speaking of Storm Point, we are ready for our next match. So will it be Heroes, MDY, Vegas Inferno reaching match point eligibility? Let's find out now. This is match number 5.
All right, well, it is starting to get pretty tight towards the top end there now. Heroes, MDY, 36 points. Down to 5th there is X and Y on 34. Makers are 30. So quite a few teams now at this point, Genome, that can really start to hone in on the magic number 50. Imagine, I would cross my fingers that we're going to have at least 1 or 2 teams going into the next game that are going to be on that number. But, beggars can't be choosers. And to be honest, today has been quite a spread. So there may actually be a world where, like, those top teams, again, just miss out. And we continue to keep the pack quite strong, but nobody leading out in front.
Could be. I feel like every time we've had one of those situations where someone does get to match point, like, much, much earlier than everyone else, they have 2, 3 good games to start off with. Well, actually, there's been 2 situations. One is they just, like, do the moist sort of route and win 3 games in a row and just take it out. And the other one is that they really struggle. People pick on them. You know, people do recognize where they are. They don't. It's not hard to track. You know, 1, maybe 2 teams on match point, and they, you know, they do struggle to get over the line. So, if we have a lot of teams entering match point at the same time, yeah, maybe we don't get either of those situations. Maybe it's just a sort of a free-for-all right from the start.
Maybe. Well, we've seen this kind of zone before. Maybe a little bit of a further stretch out towards the sort of western side, a bit more northern than some that we had towards the latter end of our final week of competition. But similar kind of rotation in there from VK Gaming, trying to get in pretty early. I imagine Dreamfire will be doing much the same thing. Those were actually the 2 teams that did make that kind of rotation last week, and we'll be interested to see if they end up in similar kinds of positions. But for now, Remarkable are going to be contesting just on the outside of Cascade Falls, and it seems to be going not too well for them. 1 wants to Firebird, 1 for 1 there, though now down a couple of members, and Remarkable team do definitely have the advantage. Bat attempt is going to work out successfully for Turtle. And Azu 2-tap has been confirmed by Turtle as well. So trying to lock this building down with the Caustic. Interesting composition from Remarkable, but if you can take the building...
We saw this from them earlier. I thought it was a really decent setup for him.
I mean, that's a
Caustic Valkyrie. I mean, you don't see Valk much.
In that room and you're just done.
Fight against they have a northern POI right on some point,
that
so
fight has ended.
Maybe used for longer rotations.
They're on the other side as well. I don't know, man. Remarkable might be done for. There are so many grenades on the inside of that building right now. The Remarkable team have been forced outside into the waiting arms of Fenfu.
Yeah, ew. Not fun. Airclaw Gaming have been pretty good with their third parties today. That was something that they kind of kicked off in game 1 and they've maintained over the course of the day. Just sort of float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. That's the kind of vibe I want to go with. They run in, get a kill, you know, that'll be it. Back off. Take the 1 point or 2 points here and there. They're not overcommitting to the fights. I like it. And it's been quite successful for them. They're getting very, very close to the 50-point mark, but the wins so far have been a little bit missing for Bear Claw. That's the one thing to say.
It means Bear Claws do once they get to that 50 points. That's all, chat.
First place with just a couple of those points to their name. So, 2 very important kills in the race.
That's all it means. It means they're due once they get to that 50.
They're also very central in the circle right now. They're controlling the space around the ring console as well, which means they essentially get that 3rd ring information without having to make a late push for it. Important. Unlike other teams, such as X and Y, which are currently being not quite chased down, but pushed out, it seems, by LGD.
Definitely on the move. But pretty lazy start to the game, really, for most teams. There's been a bit of a patient one. Still got Legends quite far up to the north, just to continue to check in on them and how they're playing. Up at Zeus Station, haven't moved. Been one of the last movers. Evo's Predator on the southern side of the zone. Sort of much the same vibes. You have these teams that are constantly taking their time to get in. Dreamfire eating a couple of EMPs by the looks of things right there. But they are one of the teams that likes to move central first, and they've ended up in a fairly decent setup for themselves. Same to be said for Las Vegas Inferno.
Bro, imagine Las Vegas
well
Inferno win
APAC-South. Points, right? 15 points remaining.
With Vantage,
they know that they're
Newcastle,
be in the next couple of zones. Must be feeling pretty good about things at the moment.
Shield battery here. Let's relocate there. Let's go that way.
A great start to the day from them. Can they capitalize on it? Can they be one of those teams who changes their fate in the hardest lobby of the entire split? I mean, Guild, they are the kind of team that we would expect to be doing better than usual today, but, I mean, 7th, that's actually, you know, under their pace so far if you're looking at the Split 2 standings. Maybe Las Vegas Inferno are going to take up that mantle in APAC-South.
Yeah, they've got the potential to do it. I mean, I feel like the way that they're playing today, I could see it happening, you know? It's not an outlandish statement to make. Guild Esports as well locked themselves inside of the bunker. There's not really too much going on around them. There's no one in Jurassic Park. Only one team still to rotate up from the south. No, two, excuse me, actually. It's Evo's Predator and MDY. So Guild may run into teams backfilling behind them.
Chad, it's about to be running an ad for us over on the purple brand. Here in about 30 seconds.
Heroes also going to have to
I'm going to let this one run out. That way it should be good on ads until after game number 5 here.
Scan it. So despite Heroes and GK being around that area, putting a little bit of pressure on that, they've actually allowed BCG to grab the ring console and now know that the ring is going south over towards the mid-map area.
Just follow where Dreamfire go in a zone like this one, but not where Weibo go, because today has not been Weibo's day at all. They're eliminated by Grape Soda, which I think was the team that they were actually trying to fight. I think Weibo wanted that fight by the looks of what I saw on the minimap. But it has opened up the opportunity for Grape Soda to come in here for a third party. Now, Loki's pretty low, so I don't want to overcommit to that engagement. Bearclaw Gaming hanging around. 37 points. This is not the game that you really want to be throwing away, but an extra 3 points here could really go the distance in maybe avoiding a 48 or 49 finish. You know, and then having to play out another game.
Currently in first, huh?
For their own right, Bearclaw don't want to push the issue. It seems that they will rather take the more passive approach, which I don't think is a bad shout at this point in time. But yeah, I mean, just to touch on that ring pool, it is where Dreamfire and VK Gaming initially rotated. Like, they were the first two teams that rotated, so they've read the ring very, very nicely. So they've set themselves up in a very solid spot, as is generally the case when the ring is like in this vicinity. Dreamfire seem to have this intuitive sense of where it's going to go. So it's a good shout from them.
Yeah, a couple of times so far this split. They've managed to make those determinations and being correct. Legends Gaming playing from behind, not really a spot they know well. The only team who is behind them, Evo's Predator, getting into an early fight.
It's a good read, though, from them as far as zone. So, I mean, they're in a good spot to be able to maybe turn things around in game 5.
Gopgap. Oh, eating a lot of damage, and so is Papa Pippin. Actually, too much. X and Y still lurking around at 34 points, but they have certainly not been a team to shy away from early fights, and they're not doing it again. Getting those early knocks, Gopgap's down and secured. 35 points now for X and Y. Every single one feels like it matters when you're so close. LGD have had a rough day, and it continues to be rough. That grenade at the feet. It's going to do a large number of damage to Feiju, and Final Dream will be eliminated in the meanwhile. So LGD do get by with a few points out of that one, but still in a bit of a spot of bother where they will have to make this next rotate in. But at least they'll get time for the reset. Unfortunately for LGD, it's not really an exciting place to be, right? 14 points, you've got a long day ahead of you if you want to make anything of this.
I mean, we're only 4 games in. Give them a break. One big game there could be up there with everybody else.
As far as this game goes, on Storm Point, because you can see Kill Devil are coming down towards them now, but they've got such a sheltered walk-in to this next zone that as long as they can stave off Kill Devil and win this fight, they're going to be an amazing spot. And they take the fight to them as they come out of the zone.
Can we watch it? Can we watch it? Can we watch it? Can we watch it? Can we watch it?
Nolan goes down straight away. And I think Kill Devil are just about done for here. You can see Levy, the only one still up.
We missed this whole fight
against him, and it's a clean
wipe. The casters were literally talking about it.
So, yeah, this is such a great walk-in for them now. Their rotation is clean. They've managed to grab plenty of loot for themselves here. They're going to be the ones coming in, honestly, off the back of like Legends Gaming, who have made a good spot for themselves to sit there with Watson.
Yeah, LGD coming back with a bit of a vengeance maybe in this game. How about Heroes, though? They are still in Cascade Falls. They're stuck underneath GK, and they don't really want to move. 37 points at the moment, so they can really get themselves to that 50-point mark if they are able to get deep into this one. BK Gaming maybe just a bit of an outside shot with 22 points on their tally currently, though sitting at the bottom of the ski lift. It's actually not a bad place to be. Zone's going to pull in their direction. Should be able to get a lot of points out of this one. You see Fenfu of Bearclaw Gaming trying to hide out on the side of the slope there as well. GK have made their move, which will actually make it easier for Heroes to also rotate their way in. Kind of feel like we're in the eye of the storm. You know, I use this analogy probably once a day, but it's been a little bit of a back and forth as far as the early game is concerned. And now it's slowed down a little bit. You get the sense that we're biding time and waiting for that next shift, and then it's really going to pop off. And there's a lot riding on this game for a lot of teams.
For some teams, this could potentially be their last chance to really insert themselves in the race. For some teams, this game's about putting themselves up across that threshold.
Some distance between them and 50. Grape Soda will be flying in, so why don't we listen in with them?
And then we inside. Through that single door. Go, 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 go. Oh, I got insta-died, man. Oh, one was shooting the other way. Just leave claps. Just whatever.
Fuck, now I'm dead.
Well, nice listening there, but
that didn't work out very well, unfortunately, for Grape Soda. But, you know, sometimes it be like that. And honestly, Genome, they kind of sound a little bit more resigned than mad at this point in time.
We've had a couple of, I don't know, like whoever's calling the listen-ins this split, Elfish, I reckon they've got a voodoo doll.
Yeah.
And like, and they just like chuck a team's name on it, and as soon as we switch to the team, and they just get wiped. It's so rough.
It's like it's the caster curse. But
it really is.
We're not the ones doing it.
The observer's curse.
It's whatever that would be. So listen in lemon. Listen in lemon. How about that one?
Nice.
Either way, Las Vegas Inferno. Anything but a lemon at the moment. Still a nicely set up with that next ring pull as well, keeping them just inside. Obviously, teams are going to start to look to crash them. They won't have too many more options. So this is where things really start to kick off for Vegas Inferno. But 13 points required for them. It's definitely doable now.
Yeah, they've got the Newcastle, which is good to set up in those end circles, but it's not necessarily quite as good in buildings. And that's, as you said, teams are going to be pushing into that building where LVI are. And they'll have to try and suffer it through it that way. Yeah, like MDY, yeah, they're going in there right now. There's a couple of teams up the top there looking at each other as well. But yeah, this is MDY forced their way into the bottom level.
Yep, that's fine. LVI were on the on the staircase and on the top floor. So I don't think they're actually too concerned about a team moving into the bottom. As long as MDY doesn't try to push their way up, that's where I think they can coexist for the moment.
13 teams still alive here.
Depends how anti-MDY are, I suppose.
Bearclaw Heroes, MDY, and Las Vegas Inferno all still alive, including XNY as well. So our top 5 teams that are all within a couple points.
But you know, the other 2 ultimates still up for them. So
yeah, something tells me someone's getting a match point this game, chat.
Been an okay day for them so far. A little bit short of sort of level that we've seen them.
Well, obviously today, but this game. I think I said today earlier. MDY out though, so it's not going to be them.
Oh, GK's not getting anywhere, I'll tell you that at least for free. There's Vegas Inferno picking up a couple more points, so they creep ever closer, and they are, at the moment, the team that is the closest. 39 for them, 38 for Bearclaw Gaming, but Bearclaw only down to 1 member, so odds on them maybe not making it to 50 points off of this game, which is painful. Fenfu, the last one for Bearclaw, but how does he manage to survive here? Well, he can try and rat his way behind some of these boxes, but teams really have a beat on him, and it's just not going to happen.
He's got Storm right on his ass.
He's done. Fenfu out of the picture. WQ very shortly after will go down as well.
Dreamfire now out. So this is just more points that Inferno's going to be pulling up. X and Y and Legends here.
Around the rock, it looks like some sort of weird
ritual
is going on.
X and Y is actually, I would say, in a better spot.
Maybe Legends are conjuring a big dub here.
JR with a good swing, though.
They are still floating around. X and Y on the other side of it.
Guild out in 8th.
Trying to play things quite slowly. And LGD up north. I mean, how many teams are pretty much at that match point if they do well in this game. Probably 3 or 4, or maybe even 5 that are remaining. But X and Y might be, unfortunately, another one of those teams that just misses out. Though YC comes in with the clutch. Clean as a whistle inside the smoke. I don't think the revive is going to happen, though. LGD in for that third party, and they are running through this lobby like a freight train. LGD's going to redeem them. There goes X and Y. That'll be the 3rd or 4th team that LGD have finished off.
Yeah, I mean, 8 kills for them at the moment. LGD, not only do they run away with those last couple of KP as well.
So Makers now up into 4th.
2 Legends Gaming while holding it down, but now it's LGD.
Las Vegas Inferno, if they get top
all 3 teams, all having to get
even if they don't get any more KP, they're good here.
None of them currently within the ring. It's only LGD that hold that position. So, can Las Vegas Inferno convert this? I mean, as you can see, Makers and LVI both still up. They have a chance to get over that hump.
Yep, most definitely. Vegas Inferno, they don't even need the first at this point. They really just need maybe another couple kill points, and they'll pretty much just fall over the line at that point. But maybe easier said than done. VK Gaming have got position to play inside of the next ring, behind that wall, I think. So
as long as Vegas Inferno keeping them out?
Whereas Vegas Inferno are going to have to push their way out, and they're really having to be aware of Makers at their back. A lot of this is going to come down to what Makers decide to do. If they're going to push their way into LVI, or if they push their way up into VKG, or if they can find themselves a little pocket of safety themselves. I'm not sure that's going to be an option, though. And this, of course, is where the Newcastle wall actually does start to come into play a little more so. Now that they've had to push their way out of that building, it becomes quite valuable.
Yeah, very. He's almost up to his next ultimate there. Just having to rely on the mobile shield for the moment.
Does that mean with where this zone's pulling, I think LVI actually has one of the shorter rotates,
you want
right?
A fresh one, right? You want it energized. That means it will stop grenades coming through. Not in the same, but in a similar fashion to what the pylon does.
I'm pretty sure.
Watson. They are the closest to the middle of the circle right now, so they're just worrying about Makers, who are sort of sitting, or maybe it was LGD actually that was sitting on their head. No, Makers as well. Yeah, now they're pushing it off the back of this. Oh my god, the tick damage coming through.
Yeah, this is not looking very good for LVI. The problem is they don't really have a lot of room to actually play, but Makers aren't going to push the issue. I'm surprised by that.
Well, I mean, you say they kind of don't want a lot of room. They're sandwiched between the castle wall and the mobile shield right now. Actually playing so small, it's incredible.
True. Okay, well, I hadn't considered that one. Keep their heads down for the meanwhile.
Oh,
VK Gaming
nade spam once the gen goes down.
If LGD were to fall, that would open up a little bit more room for LVI as well. Still at the 44 points. Maker's still at the 39 points. And VK Gaming making a late run in, but I'm not sure that they're going to be able to get 17 points. That would be a bit of a stretch.
I'm pretty sure the only one who can get over the hump here.
And to be honest, they're actually not in a bad spot to really get quite a lot of
I guess Makers could, right? They'd be like,
but
they'd have to get
what I'm kind of concerned about for them is that actually the fight will happen without them having any impact on it, right? Because they're on the
I think they'd have to
other
pick
side
up
of the
most
zone.
of the KP left in the lobby.
Everyone else is on the south side of the zone, and
majority of it, actually not
maybe
most.
all those points just get sponged up by other teams.
5 points away.
That is wild. That looks like almost like a Gibraltar bubble, but it's not. Makers eliminated. Las Vegas Inferno up to 48.
Las Vegas Inferno about to win this.
More kill points.
Oh, they're gonna get there. I think they can do it.
Yeah, LGD out. That means surely those placement points are going to be enough. LVI, they're up to 50. They don't even need the win anymore. They don't care. But for VK Gaming,
actually,
every
you
point
prefer
matters.
that if you're LVI, 43, because you don't win. It's so hard to win back to back. But now you're at 50, and you've been second twice.
We now have a team that has made it.
Yeah, you started second in game number 1.
And that is LVI.
I think it might just be the one, but yeah, they've managed to get there. First of all, it's going to be Las Vegas.
Big game from VK Gaming, though.
We knew we had it in them from the start.
I mean, VKG was sitting it down at 20 points for that.
Just to have that Newcastle pick as well, Genome, and just to see them take the win with that is just so exciting. You know, just be able to fortify a spot in like these more open zones is just a great way for them. Like, obviously, we can't take that away from the winners of VK Gaming, but yeah, Vegas Inferno finally our first team on match point. I was just sitting here thinking, Genome, and I was like, I might have to come to the conclusion that we're going to have every team on match point. Like, everyone is playing so
we're gonna get
well,
ourselves if
so
we go
together. Like,
through
there's no huge gap. No one's sort of
to game 8.
Absolutely dominating.
We're gonna have a good
Vegas Inferno have
Porsche
had
lobby.
such a good run, but then
I mean,
the
down
next
through
game
30 or down through 6 has 39 points.
So, has there ever been every single team in match point? No. Will it happen here? I don't know. I'm optimistic.
That's a big call. I mean,
I'm calling it.
The 16 at APAC North last night was certainly like potentially as close as we'll ever get in an ALGS lobby. But you never know, Lace. You never know.
Yeah, well, look, I was wrong about Legends Gaming winning it in 7, so I'm probably wrong about this too. But, it's just so amazing to have these teams sort of, I guess, be so close in contention for this. We can only send through 7. There's not that many spots as last time. So, these teams really understand that, and they are turning up the heat because this is where it counts. And VK Gaming just biding their time for this fight and coming in at the right time to take that win was huge for them. With a whopping 15 kills, Genome. I didn't even see that. That's crazy.
Literally LVI doing just
6K
enough.
6K damage. That's a little bit nutsy there from VK. And they were 3 points shot. That was almost pushing them over the edge. Look, we can get to the scoreboard later, I guess. But, I mean, damn, they went up 9 spots off the back of that. They were pushing so hard.
Just needed a 30-point game, chat. All they needed was a 30-point game. Darn.
Actually, yeah, because it was 3 points different. That means if they had of, they just needed one more team, right? They were so close. But even LGD picking up 8 and XMY picking up 5, all pushing up towards that sort of that area.
Yeah, that's crazy. If they just sort of maybe got in there a little bit earlier, they could have got that extra 3 off, the team. So that's crazy to think that they really did jump up that far. 9 points. They went up by, so they're at 47. What a climb for them. And then there we go. The little box around the 50 for Vegas Inferno. Our first team to reach match point eligibility. And if everyone at home has no idea what that is, you're going to hit the 50 points. And if Vegas Inferno win the next game, it is done. It is over. It's done and dusted because that would be our 6th game. So we have to play the 6 out, Genome. So we've gotten to the 6. It's been crazy that we haven't, seen some of our heavy-hitting teams reach it already. But it could be over. Or, by the looks of things, I don't think it will be. All teams are just, really hungry for this.
Yeah, I mean, any win from now on from Las Vegas Inferno is a dub on the day from them. And yeah, no, what's the word? Rubber. No, it's escaping me. But essentially, no games that don't mean anything, right? We will get the full minute. Yes, dead rubber. That's the one. Thank you, Elfish. No dead rubbers. We'll get every single game will mean something. We'll get the full 6, probably even more now. But as we said, only one team on match point means that they've got a big target on their back.
That's incredibly correct. They have been doing it seamlessly throughout this, but yeah, teams will be wanting to knock them out. So we are going to take ourselves another short little break, and we'll see you right after it. Will Vegas Inferno take out the win? Who knows? But we'll catch you in a moment.
Another break. What? 3.5-minute break. Oh man, come on. I know we were about to go to a breakout. I waited to go put beard balm in my beard. Hey. 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 Okay. 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 Yeah. All right, big game number 6 coming in from Legends. I feel it. I feel it. The script writers have been writing some good stories this year in ALGS. So Legends about to have back-to-back 20-point games. One here on World's Edge, then on Storm Point. Or sorry, one more on Storm Point, then World's Edge. Yeah. And then they win game 7. On some TSM type shit. Watch. Who do we keep hearing in the background? Is that part of production?
Surprise.
Welcome back, everyone. Game number 5 completed. Teams are really turning up the heat because they know this is where it counts. It's the regional finals, Genome. I'm going to keep saying it. We just had our first team finally reach match point eligibility, and that's none other than Vegas Inferno. And to top it all off, they're doing it with a Newcastle. I feel like it's really refreshing to see, you know, not such a crutch meta anymore and a bit of flavor to our compositions.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you can call Newcastle a crutch in any way, honestly. It's a pick that really makes your team think about the kind of positions they play. And look, it hasn't got them a first just yet, Lace, and that's important now because they're on match point. But in my mind, you know, all these teams have a little button that's like that, you know, they get to press, they get to use it like once. That's like, let's win a game on match point finals day. So if they haven't done it yet and they've got to 50 points, I think they've timed it well.
Yeah, because I heard Elfish say before there's been so many teams that, you know, are on 49 points and win with the 49, but you know, then it is incredibly hard.
That's
to
what I was saying for LVI. I do think them losing
points,
that last game makes like it's better for them.
Everybody wants to be a match point eligibility. They want to be one of those teams to be able to take it. So, but like you said, Vegas have yet to have a win, but they're on the 50 points. This could be it. You know, then we go to bed. No, it's we love seeing the Apex action. You know, we do want to see some other teams sort of get up in there, but you know, we've got VK Gaming. They're 3 points away. They're so super close as well. They're gonna be hungry.
I'm kind of with Lace though. Either LVI wins here or give me like a 12-game banger. No in betweens.
So close. Like they could just be able to put themselves in that top, take it away from Vegas Inferno, and then we keep the games rolling.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely a couple of teams who are looking to, you know, get up into that top 7, like MDY, Heroes, Bearclaw, and Vegas Inferno. Obviously, the front runners to do that right now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And like, you know, I'm still looking at Legends Gaming. Like they generally you know, they do take a little bit to sort of get themselves a win, but like it's been what 5 matches now, and it's a little bit crazy to see that they haven't gotten that steamrolling effect that we're so used to seeing. Maybe they're just playing around and they're going to turn things up now and just skyrocket up, and then you know annoy all the teams at the top. Who knows? But yeah, I guess Weibo as well is another team that I'm a little bit confused. You know, not seeing them even remotely that close. What are they? 12 points at the moment, Genome. So that's super crazy to see.
Yeah.
I'm not at a loss here, but it's just not the teams we expected to be that far down.
It is a little bit strange, and it also just opens up so much for these other teams like Las Vegas Inferno, Lace, because usually Weibo, Legends Gaming, they would be soaking up so many of the
every
points
other
in their
game
victories, but all of a sudden
they have been in a top 10 or bottom 10. Does that continue in Game 6?
Now that they've been
or do we potentially see
and
where the Vegas
look
Inferno?
At how Vegas Inferno has been going over our 5 matches: 2nd, 10th, 4th, 13th, 2nd. So you know, like you said, Genome, could be a win. You know, that magic button could be pushed where they end it all here and now. Of course, we head into game number 6 again on Storm Point. You know, it's going to be tough. I think from the previous game, they had quite a early position, if I'm not incorrect. So, you know, they really held it together for them and, you know, started to get those kills right until the very moment. Obviously, VK Gaming took the win, but, you know, that doesn't matter sometimes. They've had the points throughout it. They've been having such an excellent bunch of games today. So, you know, it's leading up to a win. I feel it. I keep saying I feel stuff and it's wrong, but I'm going to say it's very possible.
Well, look, I mean, Vegas have only won 1 game the entire split so far, Lace. So, I don't know, maybe they've been, like, hoarding their win button from, like, Pro League in general just to save it for today. And that would be good timing, if ever. But, yeah, I mean, you know, playing from Coastal Camp on Storm Point is a tough one. But, hey, they've been making that work. They took Overlook in 6 spots as well.
They did the live map or legend pick last time around.
Out of LVI, but they've been absolutely doing so well from it as we get some of those legend picks coming through here for our 6th game. So it's kind of live now, you know. There's you know, we're onto it. There's teams on match point. It could end at any moment.
Speaking of picks, where is that Newcastle? You know, we've got, you know, I guess still the Horizon pick. I'm pretty certain
a Rev pick.
You know, Grape Soda have been doing that, you know, quite well. What the heck is that, Genome? That is a Rev right down the bottom there. So
wow.
Somebody's playing a game, or somebody's, you know, wanting to be, I guess, a more aggressive
be
play style.
aggressive.
I need that
be
extra, you know, bit of health
aggressive
after knocking a few players, but that's exciting to see.
Yeah, a remarkable Rev as a hint.
Very true. Remarkable Rev. Hopefully get themselves up in there. But you know what? We are heading over to game number 6, guys. So this is going to be on Storm Point once again. Will Vegas Inferno get their win finally today and end it all? Who knows? I'm sure other teams aren't going to let it happen. Let's find out right now. Game number 6.
Yes, well, this could be the final game of the split, though the chances are it won't be. I mean, 1 team out of 20 you're asking to get the dub. It's pretty long odds, especially when that team has only managed to pick up the 1 win for the split so far. But one thing that is quite interesting to note, and Lisa and I were talking about this in that pre-match prior to the last match, was whether or not they were going to take the Newcastle going into match point, because they're the only team that has been running Newcastle. And there's your answer. They don't have the Newcastle here. They've gone into the Pathfinder instead. So we Pathfinder, Watson, Bangalore for Vegas Inferno. And I think really, Genome, that comes down to just making sure that they essentially can't be like sniped in a sense by other teams, right? Where teams would see, oh, it's a Newcastle. We know Vegas Inferno have been playing Newcastle. We have to kill them. Let's just like kind of just
surely this is one of the ones that ends on those
it's a change up definitely
village, right?
Because this
down here
is not the comp that they've been playing on Storm Point today. We'll see how they go, but you know it sucks a bit because like it's actually been working. That Newcastle has been working.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can make the Pathfinder work now instead.
Yeah, you saw how good they were at it when they were, you know, piloting it in, you know, a really tricky end game there in our previous match. But as you say, when you are the one single team running it, I don't think those Newcastle walls will stay up for very long. People are going to be throwing every bullet they have left in their backpacks at those walls just to make sure you get done. Then again, I say that. We had the situation at LAN where there were 2 teams left alive on match point, both Watson teams, and, you know, somehow... Sorry, all the Watson teams left alive in the lobby were on match point, and they still didn't get targeted. So you never know, man. Well, sometimes the pro players drop the ball.
Yeah, I mean, look, sometimes maybe we overthink it. Who knows? But this conversation for a little bit later on, as we are now sort of getting stuck into the thick of things. VK Gaming making an early rotate. This pull is going to sort of lean in around Checkpoint, Cascade Falls, Sito Station, and the trenches. Those are kind of the 4 main landmarks still involved. But sort of hard to say exactly where this one is going to end up. Most teams are thinking maybe Checkpoint, maybe trenches. They're expecting the pull to continue to go out northwest, and damage out from that arc star could be...
Yo, my guy Turtle is
whiffing. It's a remarkable team. They do lose risk early on in the piece. One wants to fire bird.
My boy Turtle has to be on MNK.
Themselves one in response. We're back to one of those remaining members. It's a 1v1 now. One wants to Firebird. The Revenant is going to be too much for them. So we did ask whether or not we were going to get the Revenant. And we did, but maybe not for very long. It's going to be a third party for SWQ.
SWQ, they get the scan in. They'll see that there are members on the ground via the Eye of the Allfather. And that means Rev's going to get out. He's going to leap straight out of there. Knows he has to try and rejig this somehow. He's like kind of within the ring, so he'll have time to do it. But the real question is, you know, no support legend, obviously. Trying to think, do we have any support legends in this lobby? I think apart from, I think Newcastle was potentially the only one, right? And
the death of support legends.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be banner retrieval.
Well, Makers did kind of just miss out on the back end of that previous game, and so they were stuck on 39 points. The fate isn't necessarily in their own hands at the moment. Just kind of got to do what they can to get to 50 and hope that LVI can't get much more. Heroes, similar kind of a discussion for them. And already doing a bit of a number to GK, who's sitting inside of this building as well. In fact, it actually looks like Heroes want to try to push the issue here straight out through that smoke, and
bro, they just came in and said,
nothing to be said for Killerpos. Yukoi obviously down there as well. He was knocked earlier on in the piece, and GK are bullied out of position by Heroes.
Damn.
Oh, rough one. Raki has to run away. GK have to
Heroes trying to put themselves on a match point this time around.
As we've said, mathematically impossible for them to make it via points. It's a match point win or nothing. Started off okay, but they don't need okay. They need excellent. They need the best.
Well, that's kind of what Vegas Inferno need right now as well. They need the best. They need the dub. They need the
you know
one.
what I could do?
Zone pool wasn't particularly favorable for LVI,
I could go
so they
crank
haven't
my,
got a premium position, but they are making their way in.
Thermogenic after this.
My eyes peeled on them this entire game, as you should be as well. Weibo have definitely undershot the mark today. It may not change up too much. Jackie Chan very low, but getting the better of VKG at this point in time. There are some third-party shots coming through from SWQ that they have to be aware of. Jackie Chan will actually be
I'll probably do that and make a sandwich
as well. So it's really not. It's not been a fun day for Weibo.
No, but final
they might lose another one here.
Yeah, they're coming off the back of this. They might just get
maybe even make 2 of them.
Boring tries to take the evac Jowler out. They spot him off. No worries. And there we go. They're done for. Final dream. Grab the kills.
Yeah, I'd say at this point it's kind of impossible almost for Weibo to make it to land, right? Like they're just so far down the scoreboard now that there's no real chance of them making it through on placements, and to come back for a dub on the day,
it would be a pretty
impressive like another 10, 11
games.
games kind of day, right? Where everyone else fails, and there's going to be so many opportunities for teams to finish it off prior to that you just got to hope and pray, really. That's the only thing you can do. But it certainly has not been their day. Either way, VK Gaming, they kind of have to be a little careful here, right? Casa and 951, obviously as a duo, you don't have a massive job actually to do in this game. You just need to get another 3 points out of it, but being 2 as opposed to 3 just makes it so much scarier that, you know, you might get a kill point or 2 and then just get finished off third-partied, something like that, and miss out by another 1 point, which would be a massive, massive loss at this point in the day. Because every game you miss is another opportunity for maybe, you know, like next game, it's probably 2, 3, maybe 4 teams that have managed to reach match point eligibility. VK getting that respawn. So that's something to be said, assuming that they managed to, you know, regroup with all 3 safely. Here is Legends Inferno. Legends Inferno. Las Vegas Inferno. It might be Legends Inferno at the end of today. If they can get the dub in this game. Still looking pretty healthy for now. SWQ doing a lot of work in this game as well. They've been getting a lot of kills.
Yeah, they're doing okay. You can see the full send there from Fussy on the horizon here is going in towards him. And it is a 2v2 at the moment, but X and Y have just pulled up. See the scans coming out.
X and Y say, you know what? We only need a couple points to be on match point.
Play.
And we hear some fighting going on over here.
You can see them picking
and we're
up
one of the best fighting
the
teams in the
kills
world.
this fight.
Well, in the region.
Definitely.
Maybe not the world.
Thirsty for some points, that is for sure, and they're going to get a couple of them. Now up to 44. Putting that pressure back on LBI next game. If LBI don't manage to get it done here, and they've dropped a member. Nades are flowing through as well. This might just be it. Oh, Las Vegas Inferno. It is just not coming together. And we will definitely be going another game now, surely. A-Flow done. That's it. Las Vegas Inferno are out, and it will confirm us. One more game at least.
One more game.
So VKG, X and Y, Heroes, Bearclaw Gaming, that starts to now become the big conversation here of match number 6.
VKG is so close to match point. It must just feel awful when you're on, like, you know, 45 plus points and you're like, hey guys, just stick it out. We only need a couple. And then you take an early game fight and go down without confirming any of those kills. But you can see 3 points away now. Fighting on blues in the mid games, okay, but they don't want to be stuck in this position later on. The first knock onto Final Dream is great now that VKG have got all 3 members back up and alive. Only one aimbot is left up. Can they do this without Kill Devil coming in and spoiling their chances?
You'd have to hope so. Bit painful to miss out on. Wow. VK Gaming are actually going to take the ultra safe route and just back off, give ground. And I don't hate it, you know, like, you're 1 point away, right? So, with those couple of points on the board,
that was definitely the right decision.
Yeah, all right, top 15 now. Teams are earning placement points. BKG already there. X and Y getting close. Heroes getting close.
They are up too, so...
I think BCG is still alive and also getting close. I think I saw up there.
Well, that'll do it. Absolutely the right choice then. And from here on out, it doesn't really matter what happens for the rest of this game. You almost, yeah, there you go, 50 points confirmed. You don't want to win this game, actually. Really, I think is the... That would actually be my takeaway. I don't think VK Gaming would want to win here, because this is like, oh, we used our win on the wrong game. If you're like one of those superstitious people. And to be honest, I've seen so many teams get the win to get to 50 points, but they can't win.
Yup, back so.
There's something to say for the confidence that it would give you, but yeah, I feel like there's some sort of psychological trickery in winning a game before you get to match point that would just mess with your mind.
Yeah, you got to think about it as well. The deeper we get into this lobby, like the messier the games tend to get over the course of a day. So next game will be game 7. And teams will be starting to think, okay, I'm getting a little bit tired now, and, you know.
So MDY is
out. A bit, especially for those teams that are at the bottom of the scoreboard that have no chance of making it to land. They're going to think, well, this kind of sucks. And you might start to see some weird shenanigans happening. Maybe from the next couple of games onwards. Eva's Predator. They've been plugging away today, but haven't really had much success. Only 8 points for the day, and sitting in 20th place overall. Really give them a particularly great chance of making it to land.
I hear a res coming in. I believe that's VK Gaming. They got into checkpoint.
So remember, MDY needs 8 placement points higher than Dreamfire currently. If they want to take over their spot, they are not there.
As soon as they do it, though, of course, it does put a little bit of a target on their back. The dropship, you know, it's a pretty large.
And they're out early again here in
saying,
game 6.
Hey, everyone, we're over here, and we're, you know, not in as good a spot as we would like to be. So Legends Gaming actually do push them out. It's a checkpoint zone, so most teams do seem to have cottoned onto this. Going over checkpoint itself, it'll probably finish just you know, outside. It's unlikely to finish sort of where you have the multi-platform structure. So finish just ahead of this part that we're looking at right here. And that means
the difficulty with checkpoint is it's a very tough position to push into when there's teams already there.
Yeah, lots of high ground, lots of weird nooks and crannies. Dreamfire on the building on the low ground though, that'll actually be a really important spot to hold, I think.
Yeah, where's Dreamfire on the overall leaderboard right now?
Bro, Kill Devil heard him, but
quite a ways away.
Whiffing shots.
Devil at 32.
Hey, you know what?
That's
recovered
some nice
there
shots
at the end. Hold on. Stand
yeah,
by. Let him cook.
JR and XD and
X and Y out. X and Y not going to be able to get to match point.
I don't know exactly where they were at, but they were like 43 or something like that. I'm pretty sure they didn't get enough to get to 50, so they'll be sitting on the sidelines for another game, unfortunately. EMP over the top there from
I'm pretty
VK
sure
Gaming.
X and Y was at like 48 points too.
Doesn't
47.
result in much of a push.
Ouch for X and Y.
Now Heroes just has to try and get there. Although I believe Heroes is already in on points, right? Oh, they are not. Now I kind of want Heroes to win it all.
Good flick from Casa.
Send them boys to land.
Team taken out in 11th. Gonna have to continue to fight here, VK Gaming, but they can do it with not a whole lot of pressure, knowing that, you know, the job is done at least that we got to 50 points. But then again, you know, every point kind of matters, right? When we're talking about the overall leaderboard placements, you do still kind of need to be thinking about that, thinking about the money. I mean, VK Gaming are fairly safe to be making it to land at this point, whether it's
Gaming
through
are
placement
fine.
or through winning the match.
They
point
just have
format,
to depend
but,
on
you know,
makers.
You can earn yourself
kind of continuing to fall
more if you can place, you know, 2nd or 3rd as opposed to 5th or 6th. So
yeah, it's a big difference, and now that they are.
Well, VK went into this in 3rd, so that
first spot, as you say, extremely unlikely that they get knocked out. You know, if they get a top 3 on the day, yeah, that's basically land for them the first time as well. So you know, it's always nice to see new faces getting to have their crack at it and see if they can really hang with the world's best. But as you can see, they've got 2 solos just hanging around. Raki and Crazy Kong are going to be slowly walking in up behind them. 2 separate guerrilla forces on the back of VKG here as they try to avoid shots from that deadly high ground walking in. It's actually working out pretty well for them.
They're going to run into each other. Raki's going down into the trenches as well, but he's got no idea Crazy Kong's here.
1v1 for the
So he should just get cleaned up.
No health meds.
He doesn't.
By the way, that's why he's on about half health.
Crazy Kong actually wants the fight.
Yeah, Raki's on like 120 HP overall, so he definitely doesn't.
Raki's hiding. He's hiding. He's going to get him in the back.
Oh
He's
my
actually
god,
gonna
he
get him in the back.
See him.
Oh, Raki.
Oh, it's good shots from Raki. 3-man out. Good shot connecting. Oh, even the pylon forced out. Oh, great 1v1 actually from Raki. He gets the extra point on the
extra point.
Team. You'll call that a dub, all things considered, because they were kind of boned either way.
No, it
GK
wasn't an
also
extra point because it's 8th through 10th are the same placement
at the hands of VK Gaming. Heroes are 3 points away. Makers are 6. Bearclaw Gaming 7. All 3 still remaining in the fight in this game. So it might not just be 2 teams at match point eligibility after this game. It may be 3 or 4.
Legends were in a great spot last game. They didn't make the most of it. Got ousted early. Once again, they found themselves in a decent position, but this time they need to convert. They want to put themselves back in the conversation, even if just for bragging rights today.
Well, the bragging rights are definitely few and far between for them at the moment.
Heroes chasing down Makers
to the buildings, forcing Makers back a little bit. They're happy to play underneath. Not a bad shout when you're only 3 points away. Every possibility that a team...
Yeah, I was going to say, especially now you're getting points every elimination here. Like every team that's eliminated.
Your sight line, you pick up a cheeky point here or there.
And where they're at, I mean, they could kind of just vibe here.
At least for the moment. They want to take things slow as possible.
Dreamfire, we said they were in a good position in this building down here. Unfortunately, the circle pulls just outside of it, so they'd be kind of hoping, you know, maybe just a corner would be in and the pylon would really save them for that last walk-in, but unfortunately, no. Them and Guild Esports are getting pushed out starting now.
Legends is in another situation where they have 1 blue, 2 purples. Haven't been able to farm up their Evos much.
Have made their cross, but it was not unscathed. I thought they'd managed to make it okay, but just as I start speaking, Empty and Legacy both get taken down, and Jessica's not too far behind them. So Guild eliminated very quickly at the hands of Legends, who are pretty desperate for any point at the moment. Still sitting in 18th overall. And if Makers were to win it, there would be still a world where maybe they could overtake Legends for first for the split. A lot of things have to go wrong for Legends, but that's kind of happening at the moment. Still, VK Gaming under the pump a bit. Again, not too concerned. They're at 61 points, top of the lobby, feeling happy. Legends do get eliminated.
VK steaming ahead here.
Legends gaming out.
They've only got the smallest sliver of playable space.
They've had a rough day today, bro.
See Bearclaw actually have some high ground, and they've got it to themselves here, so...
Heroes still alive,
like
right?
30-30, that's perfect.
Yeah, 2 players still alive for Heroes.
Yeah, Casa taken down at the hands of the 30-30 repeater, and that's going to be the go signal for Bearclaw. They drop off of the top. They want to get another 6 points out of this game. It certainly feels doable. Heroes need only the 1. Bearclaw stuck inside of this smoke, but they know...
Is that VKG?
They know the VKG are hiding in this little sliver of safety. In fact, was it Dreamfire in there? I thought it might have been VKG. Oh, VKG are on another one. But either way,
Heroes there. Makers just need 2 more points. BC or Bearclaw Gaming just needs 2 more points
away. So we're going to have multiple teams. Bearclaw also 2 points away. This is going to be where, you know, LVI, they really feel like they missed a trick, you know.
Honestly, if VKG and Horizon go out, we'll have 4 teams that have crossed their threshold this time around.
It was a pretty tough ask for them. You have to say, Knucklecluster's very effective in these sort of situations where the players, as we saw, were sitting in the smallest of areas here. Okay.
All right, not going to hand Bearclaw.
So I don't know if they make it up to 50. Probably
Makers
not.
is there, though.
Heroes and Makers definitely have now all of these teams will be duking it out, but none of them on match point coming into this game. VKG just picking up a ridiculous amount of kills. You got to remember, they were sub 50 when this game started, so we won't have a winner here, but man, some of the top teams are looking for their win right now.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be a game. Either way, EMP is
nice
out
push
into
down
the thick of
from
things,
MKers.
and Makers are as well.
Makers
instantly eliminated, but the fight does ensue. Ziki and Dexter doing a number to Heroes. They need to get those quick loots off. Oh my god.
Bro,
actually,
VK
as a solo, he might actually be able to win this. Surely not VK
No.
Gaming. You cannot write a script like this one.
Wow.
They've just gone and done a massive game to get to the 50-point threshold and gone well past it, it has to be said. But is that the dub that is the curse? Because I've seen it before, and dare I say we might see it again here with VK Gaming getting a dub at a pretty... Look, it's a... You'll never say no to a dub, but they would love it next game, and we'll see if they can do it.
Yeah, goddamn. They were just steamrolling everything. Like you said, you know, we've obviously, you know, you can win the match point, but them earning this amount of points just, you know, is pretty much going to guarantee them like those top spots. So they were just steamrolling everything. And we love a classic, like, little rat solo to win off the match. That was crazy. But you know what, guys? We keep the games rolling because Vegas Inferno, you know, they got knocked out a little bit early there. But, you know, that means that it paves the way for the rest of the teams. And you know, they're going to be thrilled about it because there's been quite a few teams reach that 50-point threshold, you know, and that one would have to be VK.
That Revenant play, though.
Smash it, you know.
Oh, mate, yeah, that was, they punched a whole entire fist through that target.
All right, it's probably going to be a minute because we're switching maps.
Just such a crazy game.
I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go make me some breakfast.
It must be an absolute bucket load. But yeah, that was certainly one way to convince us that they're worthy of potentially taking out a title here today.
And I guess this is a little bit of a funny here. GK Esports go for the 1v1 just to be interrupted so soon. You know, unfortunate for them, but, you know, it's being able to hold on to that, you know, a little bit more of a position is huge from them. But here we have QQ just dominating. As you can see, kill leader already with the 7 just to get that extra point in the win. But, you know, Elfish, is it going to happen? Is it going to be like, you know, me, Gino, we're talking about the button push where you get the win. You know, is it going to be difficult for them moving forward? Or is this just the beginning with the 14 kills from VK Gaming, Genome? That is crazy.
Yeah, look, I'll put away whatever we were, you know, the smack we were talking about Bangalore's before, because we've just seen QQ pull out a 2.5k and Bastion as well. Pull out a 2.5k. Asia's as well. So we got 3 Bangalores pulling out almost 7,500 damage between them. Yeah, well, really leading the way for their respective teams there, VKG, Makers, and Heroes.
Yeah, Heroes got to be really happy about that too, because they, you know, they were incredibly close to that threshold as well, which, you know, tips them over the top. It's actually a little bit less teams, I thought, joining our 50-point match point eligibility, but let's find out right now exactly who's going to be in contention. We've got Makers, Heroes, and VK Gaming, of course, joining in with Vegas, Inferno, Elfish. I thought it was going to be a little bit more than that. Bearclaw Gaming, so close.
Yeah, I thought Bearclaw was going to get it done too. Be pretty painful, pretty heartbreaking actually for Bearclaw if they were to win this next game, knowing that they were only 2 points away. I mean, X and Y 4 points away. You can almost definitely expect those two teams to sort of get over the line in the next game. So, job gets more difficult, obviously, for the teams that have already qualified to match point eligibility if they don't manage to get it done here. And that'll be what we're going to continue to say throughout the next, 3, 4, 5 games if we need so many games, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be hard for VK Gaming to kind of conjure a game like that again. They went from 47 points to 73 in one game, which is absolutely nuts. But it felt like kind of everything was going their way, you know what I mean? Like, they were in awkward spots. They were in rough positions, but teams were not kind of looking at them quite as much as they needed to be. They were fighting their way through some awkward spots. So those kinds of games don't happen every game, right? So VK Gaming, have they peaked too soon? Have they pulled out that sort of magic round a little bit too early? We'll obviously have to wait and see. I mean, maybe they can go back to back, but yeah, a couple of other teams sort of hanging around as well, and it's starting to heat up now.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And, I'm always optimistic about, them getting another win, but it's still a great accomplishment for them because they will definitely, be in those top spots. We're sending through 7 teams. Obviously, Legends Gaming, Genome have, a ticket through already. So we're just trying to find the other 6 to join them. VK Gaming looking like they're going to definitely be in one of those spots. But of course, they probably want the money as well. That's always sitting over their head too. But yeah, I reckon they could definitely get themselves a win. Will they do it next match? I don't think so. I do feel like there's going to be some other teams join us in this 50-point threshold. So we're going to have a look over at this graphic for you guys and take a look a little bit further into everything for us.
Yeah, this is the scoreboard as it stands if the game were to end now, basically. So these would be the teams. These would be the 7 teams that would go through to playoffs if it was done. So just gives you a bit of an idea of where we're sitting at this point in the day. And it's actually crazy to see Vegas Inferno just not managing to get it over the line there. They would be sitting in 8th. They would need 7th to make it through to the playoffs. You get the top 7 teams. Legends doing enough still to sort of sit on top. So it hasn't really changed up too much.
Yeah.
The only difference would be Guild in and MDY out, or Bearclaw out?
No.
I think Bearclaw are the one.
It hasn't changed it at all. So these are the top
Guild
7 as yeah they are. So there's been a swap in placement from SWQ and XMY, but it just shows you that there was a big gap between Dreamfire and MDY going into this day, and Vegas have almost done enough to get there, but it's still such a tough ask for them because they kind of are also relying, as you can see, on Dreamfire not doing that well. Dreamfire middling day, they'd have to drop down a couple of places for Vegas to get over the top. So really, Vegas are just looking for that match point win, because then it's not up to anybody else. It's only up to them if they punch that auto auto win, golden ticket as we like to call it. If you win the match point finals, that team always 100% gets to land.
Yeah, and it's very true. You know, Dreamfire, a bit mediocre today, still doing excellent, but it is very much possible, Gino. But we're going to take ourselves a short little break. Don't go anywhere. We're continuing on the Apex action here in APAC-South. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. Welcome back, everyone, where the Apex games keep on keeping on. We are about to head into game number 7, but that's not without, I guess, you know, looking at match number 6 with VK Gaming absolutely steamrolling their way into match point eligibility. We now have a fair few teams in the match point eligibility status. And if you're just joining us and you have no idea what that means, teams need to earn 50 points. Basically, once they do that, they become match point eligible. We currently have Legends Gaming, we currently have VK Gaming, Makers, Heroes, and Vegas Inferno on that threshold. So all they need to do now, and I say all they need to do, that's easier said than done, is win a game to end everything today. So, you know, VK Gaming.
All right, so we've got, what, 4 teams?
Will they get another win?
Yo,
is it possible?
I had to find my new loaf of bread. Yeah, so we got 4 teams on match point.
A back-to-back win from any teams, but with the way they're heading, it could totally be possible.
All right, let's see if Heroes can pull it out here in game number 7, chat.
Done. So we're going to
secure the dream.
A close eye on VK Makers, Heroes, and Vegas Inferno as we head.
It's not very often we have a team that's out of it mathematically. Is able to lock in their spot.
Move back to World's Edge.
Yo, you can see Wraith Valkyrie
during
up a few
regional finals
there, and the Revenant seems.
And them boys from Heroes deserve it, man. They've had some issues in the past getting to land with visas.
Well. They switched on to that.
I know they were able to get their visas for this last one, which would mean hopefully they'd be able to obtain them easier this time around too.
They had at the start to give it another run.
Yeah, you know, they maybe just want to give it another opportunity, another chance. They kind of want to get those points. You know, we know sort of Rev is that full send kind of get, I wouldn't say a second chance, but the extra 75 HP when you knock down someone. So it could be working for them.
Admittedly, I don't
think it
really
worked
know
the previous match they played it, but
100%
maybe
how
they're going to give it another solid go.
Visa
but let's find
works.
out right now. We're going to head into game number 7.
Hey,
we're back on World's
let's
Edge.
get it.
Are we going to see it end now or carry on? Let's find out.
Give me a Heroes win.
Well, 4 teams that can get it done right now. You can see them at the top of the screen there. VK Gaming.
Heroes win means no matter where Legends falls, Makers wouldn't be able to overtake Legends for the first spot. Heroes would then also have a spot at land. I'm down.
Interesting compositions from them with the Bangalore Crypto Wraith. That was primarily what they were running. They ran that 5 games in a row. Then they changed things up for the previous game, brought in a Pathfinder Horizon. That didn't really work out either. Now they've gone back to Bang Blood Valkyrie. So trying to experiment maybe with things didn't really work out, and coming back to a little bit more of the tried and true. I guess it's fair to say. But rough day today for Weibo, and they're still trying to find the answer for it.
Yeah, that is an interesting set of compositions they've tried running here. I mean, Valkyrie is... We've had a smattering of it throughout the season, throughout the split here. I wouldn't say it's been a crazy good pick. Talking to the teams that do run it, they say, if there's less other Valkyries in the lobby, it does allow you to hit a couple of spots that maybe other teams can't. But at the same time, we are seeing teams just hit evacs, hit balloons for those late rotates in that do, mostly the same thing. Like, yeah, if you get the upgrades, like Valkyrie can go a little bit higher, a little bit further.
And I think Vegas Inferno at this point, I do believe they are out unless they win. Really because VK Gaming, I believe, is high enough.
Yeah. No, I don't necessarily disagree, which is kind of sad for me to say.
Or I guess if VK Gaming were to win.
My favorite legend.
And they were find a way to slide up in a second.
Likely go with fly. I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, doesn't really seem to have much of a place in the meta at the moment. But, we'll see. Either way, this fight is going to happen again. Grape Soda. Ooh, a very nice couple of shots there with the Vault, but not enough for the knock just yet. And so Grape Soda on the hunt, on the chase.
Trying to get, once again, Taraki on the Pathfinder by himself. But a nice couple of shots come out from Fussy. Flatline hits its mark, and Grape Soda once again will get KP early into the game. How, does that mean anything when we get to the pointy end of things? I don't know. But they do have the circle this time. The zone is pulling towards us here in Lava Cycle.
Well, see, this is where that little bit of a curve play for VK Gaming. They've gone back to back with dubs, but they've pulled the dubs out at the wrong time, right? Like, this is the game that you want to win. And they're going to be maybe the second team eliminated if things continue to go the way they have been. Remarkable team. Certainly trying to chase them down. 951 has been confirmed. Remarkable team might... there we go. So that's the end of VK Gaming. One of the teams that's match point eligible. Straight up. 18th place. 19th.
All right.
This game, I should say.
Only 3 teams can keep this thing alive in here.
It does feel like a bit of a curse. This is exactly what happened to Team Burger when they went back-to-back to go into match eligibility all those years ago.
I mean, that's so rough, right? They, over here on World's Edge, they were landing at staging, so it was a fairly, priority rotate on them there on VK Gaming's side, and they find this spot in Command Center, but sometimes you run into it at exactly the same time as another team, and you just got to take and win that 3v3. VK Gaming don't get it done this time, and that's the end of their chances here in match 7.
Remarkable team. They've gotten another one. Got rid of Evo's Predator, but this might be one too many as Evo's Predator rocks up. Or is it Final Dream? Final Dream on the perfect timing to catch Remarkable team. So a little bit messy over that command center, as you say. And perhaps some other teams taking different approaches. Vegas
Inferno's got a good read on this zone.
Their mistake in the last game. They don't want to be rotating too much early in the game. They have set themselves up with a fortress inside a little house. Got the Watson fences up. And they are not going to do anything for the rest of the game if they don't have to.
I mean, at some point, presumably, they will have to do something. I'm not sure if I've seen a pro game yet where they, can wait the other team out and just let them die to the ring, but
nope. You never know. But they're in a good spot. They're actually in quite a good spot.
Yeah, like, they're in a really good spot where that try can be pulling. Yeah.
And if it does, they are well set up. Try and see where Makers and Heroes have ended up. Makers are still down in stacks and Big Mord. Heroes rotating their way in from the north. Still a bit of a way to go for them. Let's see how this goes for Weibo. We talked about their composition change up. Perhaps just going back to what they are used to, which would be the Bang in the Blood. Although the interaction's a little bit different, but...
Yeah, it's been completely neutered, I'd go so far as to say, right? I mean, the threat vision from Beast of the Hunt that we're seeing right now, it doesn't go through smokes, and it's just like, okay. At that point, what is it really doing for you? You get a tiny bit of extra speed with it.
Let's displace there.
Like, that's about it. You get the extra, you know, they've changed the way the Ravens work a little bit, but at this point, at the pro level, it's not actually doing a lot for you.
No. Bear Claw Gaming, I mean, 2 points away.
I mean, that's part of the reason we're seeing so much sear again, right?
48 this game. Assuming this will not be the last game of the day. Really
literally 3-4 teams we've seen afterwards.
Guild cancelled.
All running sear.
Yeah, they've gotten booked until we finished off. Legacy's in a bit of trouble here. It does get the passive assistance, courtesy of Bangalore's passive, but still in a bit of dodge. It's Heroes that's kind of looking at this alongside Dreamfire.
First time the MT has been on the wrong end of a volley from Dreamfire, but it's not the time you want to be finding yourself in that position. Guild, as we saw in that graphic, are still okay for the moment. If we get another couple of games, there is a chance some people start creeping up and overtaking them. All you need is for, say, Las Vegas Inferno to creep ahead of them, and then one team even further down who's completely out of that top 7 to win the match point.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Guild can find themselves in the cold on the outer as far as the split 2 playoffs go.
Dreamfire's really got to worry right now.
Well, Weibo working their way through Harvester at the moment. They're going to backfill
their first
in
one up.
behind Legends, which is certainly a team to be stuck behind.
Yeah, I do believe they're also farther down the leaderboard today.
Crack at a res, or at least they have the option to have another crack at the res, though you've got Dreamfire still floating around, so if you do go for this, you're potentially giving up another point, and maybe even just getting keyed at. So I wonder, I think they surely have to think better of this. Dreamfire are going to push their way forward to try to put that pressure on. Jesco is going over for the res beacon.
Wow, they actually managed to grab the banner. I thought Dreamfire were holding them off it, but apparently not. Either way, they'll still be trying to hold them out of the zone. And
Dreamfire are playing kill races at this point. Like, they're literally letting them get the res so they can kill them and get more points.
I mean,
this is the second time.
I think they've got a couple of evacs on their side, so potentially Guild can just go over the top of them. But we'll see if
I like that add to the overlay where we can see who's
3v2, right? And
activated if you want to hear it.
The fight, then Guild do have purples to their blues. Maybe that's the reason they're a little bit worried about that. But no, they let it happen.
Too late to make that choice now. X and Y in a bit of an awkward spot here as well. Remember, they are very close to match point eligibility, and YC not being brought back to any degree of safety. So they will get the banner. But they're going to have to be left scurrying, and it's only 2 points. It's really only 2 points. They cannot afford to be missing out on it. But it's looking pretty rough for X and Y at the moment. They're not having an easy time of getting through this game. You're going to have to go back out into the zone to the tree to get that res.
Legends, 18th spot, 19 points. They are so far from being match point eligible right now. But actually, that's the other thing I was thinking about when we were looking at the leaderboard at the start of this game, Elfish, was how many teams can play spoiler, right? How many teams, you know, that often...
I mean, Legends could pop off back-to-back games and be right into it, though.
How many teams with the ability to even win a game in a lobby like this are still around? And there's quite a few. You know, Weibo can definitely win a game. Legends can definitely win a game. You know, so many of those teams down the bottom that haven't made their way up yet.
Legends could literally win 2 games and still not be game point or match point eligible.
There's so many teams
lobby more.
that still have that capability. So, you know, that kind of makes me think that, you know, we definitely, not definitely, we still could have a bit of life left in this year.
Yeah, look, 4 teams, of which obviously 1 is now dead. I wouldn't put my money on it. You know, there's more of, it feels at this point still quite substantially more of a possibility that we go at least 1 more than if we
Inferno
were to
have
say
a pretty good spot where they're at.
I'd say there is that Weibo maybe not.
I told y'all they called it earlier with the building they're in.
Member remaining. It doesn't seem to matter what composition they play today. It's just not their day. Dreamfire trying to keep Guild on their way through, but Guild are surviving for the moment. Zone's continuing to pull away from them.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone towards the crane. The crane at the north of Lava Siphon. And Vegas Inferno, they're actually playing a spot in the house just north of the bridge. That could be really good. We're having a look at Guild v
Your boy called
Dreamfire
it.
version 2 here. Seer Ultimate goes down. All of a sudden, Guild have a lot more information. Dreamfire, of course.
How long ago did I call that for the first time?
Popping Beast
Your boy's on
Gunfight.
it.
They're backing away. They're trying to take this fight outside the radius of that exhibit.
I don't get the sense that Dreamfire really want this fight, but we've got Guild to start things off nicely. Let's jump in as here. How they take this fight?
130.
Dead.
Oh, last one was hit 70.
Almost up.
Picking up.
I gotta make it.
Leave me, I'm dead zone.
We gotta just play for this kill. We gotta play for this kill, Jesco.
Okay.
I'm gonna scan him.
Yeah.
I feel like he could have picked up there. Not gonna lie.
Scan.
You can get out. You might be able to get like right side underground miles. I'm running at him.
I had to make it. I died. I got hit by a PK.
Got him.
Nice, good shit. PF, that's big.
Yeah, that's at least it's what the fuck are they doing?
Oh, they're getting looked by LGD.
We're not in zone.
Oh. Well, I think you get the idea. They are in trouble anyway, for a more broadcast-friendly way of putting it.
Out in 12th spot. It's a shame that they didn't finish that fight just a smidgen earlier, right? Because then they actually would have been in a fantastic spot.
Ooh. Zone pull. Look at that.
And it does. It goes. It actually goes up towards.
I think that building is still part of where Legacy. Or no, it's not where
Vegas is at. House there. At least one of the houses that I believe. I don't know why Grandma's such like a landlord, such a baron in the real estate.
For real, she got so many houses.
That's true. And now she has like 3 of them. So
yeah.
It's the one in between Geyser and Siphon that it has pulled towards, and that means LGD are looking pretty decent, and so is Vegas Inferno off the back of that.
Heroes are not. Heroes another one of the teams that made it to match point eligibility, but are unable to do it in this game. Yeah, it's Makers and LVI though that we're looking at right now to maybe be able to make this one happen. Makers on the opposite side of the zone are going to come in from the south and have to play edge, whereas LVI have a little bit more of a stable setup inside. And again, we talked about LVI, you know, their chances of making it to land don't necessarily come down to winning the day, but it would be a damn sight easier if they did it that way, rather than relying on
especially now with where where VKG is at.
This is a good opportunity for them, definitely. 10 teams remaining. They're in a good spot. Makers definitely.
Like if we were talking about earlier, where you know in the Inferno, we're the top of the leaderboard. It's one
hill, almost a Firebird above them on the cliff, and LGD across. I just don't really see the way out here for Makers with any degree of safety.
Yeah, they've got double evacs, but yeah, like, you know, would there actually be a position to evac into? It's not like they've got... Usually when you're making that sort of rotate, it's because you've got a survey beacon scan. And you can
all right, Kill Devil about to push on to Inferno here. They're rocking triple blues because they've been sitting in this house the entire game.
They could probably play the fence on the top of the cliff there.
Vegas Inferno popping a bit of damage here and there, putting a bit of damage down as well, trying to deal with this team that's pushing in onto them. It's Kill Devil, who may actually try to save the game against Vegas. Already one of them down. It's at the hands of LGD, who have some cross shots across there as well. And it's actually not just LGD. You've got multiple teams now looking in for the third party. Bearclaw Gaming peeking in this direction as well.
I mean, they can kind of tuck away though, right?
There shouldn't really be much of a chance of a revive here at all. They're going to sit themselves up in that top floor and just try to keep their heads down while all the teams outside fight one another, which is exactly what is happening. Makers in the meanwhile do get themselves a kill on the southern side of the map. They're still 3 strong.
Get healed up and try and make as little noise as possible.
Dream eliminated.
Play super small.
Vegas Inferno, I don't think they can get back to 3. I think they're going to have to do it as 2.
Okay, Makers make their move, and they take out War Monster Firebird. That's huge. They were previously occupying that building. They grab it. They grab
Makers are close to this next dome.
solidify their position here.
I say part of that building is in zone, right?
On the southern side of this,
Do they have access to a door if they're still inside there is the question.
We've got a couple of teams on either side of it. Makers will be in one of the best spots now, playing from that building.
I will, at this point, draw your attention back to who was able to take out the finals, the regional finals in Split 1 of this year. It was Tom Yum Kung.
Yep.
Asia, Ziki, Dexter. So, can they go back to back? That is very much a possibility now.
That'd be kind of lit.
The position that they find themselves in this zone. They have some safety inside of that building. South side, they do have to deal with Legends Gaming, so that'll be something to think about. Bearclaw have managed to get over the line as well. They're up to 51 here, it must be said. If we go one more, another team to join. Vegas Inferno, unable to do it this time around. 5 teams remaining. Makers, this could be their moment.
Legends Gaming out. Can Makers do it here?
Legends are taken out. Makers are trying to show some presence
if
here.
Makers can push forward, Makers win this.
Down onto SWQ, but they really cannot afford to drop a
Zicky's got to stay alive.
Ziki, don't overstep. He's low on HP. Crazy Kong goes down. Makers are definitely getting the better of this fight, but it really does make me a little bit nervous to see them fighting like this. The south side, though, is now
it's
clear.
Over.
Top
Makers
three for
win this for sure.
And they will get the chance to reset.
Oh, yeah.
Do it so quickly.
Oh, yeah. Bakers win this.
In style. There's only 3 teams left, and the other 2 are fighting.
Wow.
Makers now should be able to pull
down
on
back-to-back
regional I think this is them.
champions.
I think so as well. Makers, they don't need to do too much more. They have the favorable position. It's just heck. Surely it's Makers. They're going to go back-to-back. They've done it, Makers. They get the dub here in Split 2 for APAC-South. And it is going to be the end of the match point for today. At match number 7, Makers have done it.
And you know what's incredible about that? We said one of the least likely things that could possibly happen today was that Legends Gaming could lose the #1 spot. In order for that to happen, Makers had to win and Legends Gaming had to come 19th or 20th. I don't know if that's happened just yet, but I am just fascinated to see that final scoreboard and see if they've actually managed to do the unthinkable.
That's wild.
And come away in the #1 spot.
I was literally sitting here going, we're going to go one more game. But no, Makers just stopped that in its way. Absolutely incredible from them. Exactly like you said, Elfish. You know, they have done this before. They know what they're needed to do in these absolutely obliterating competitive matches. They are so absolutely ready to head over to LAN and make themselves known. But what a great game or set of games from Makers themselves. I quite literally thought that we were going to get one more, like from this fight here.
That's crazy.
You know, and so close. I think it was with SWQ, if I'm not mistaken. They needed to hold on to each team member because it could have been over. And then just being able to look over the top. What a win here. It wasn't even like it was super difficult to take out this clutch. It was kind of just peppering a few shots and that was it. I kind of feel like Asia's looked a bit shaky knowing exactly what was at stake to get this win, but
maybe
incredible nonetheless.
Yeah, it sort of came out of nowhere, didn't it? You know, because the whole conversation going into that was like, oh, Vegas Inferno, they have the building, this might work for them, and you know, there was a few teams that Makers would have to get through, and then in the space of 2 minutes, it went from Makers not even really being much of a threat to, oh, they're definitely going to win this, and then it's oh, it's over. I was definitely, like you say, gearing up for another game. You know, that fight, as you say, against SWQ. If they would have lost a member there and a player would have gone down, it could have been a different story.
So back-to-back regional champs, and they'll go in as the 2
time
seed.
for Bearclaw to get their reset as well. But either way, look, it didn't happen, and we have Makers that go back-to-back. They did it as Tom Yum Kung last split. They do it as Makers here again. So I don't know what it is about this match point format, but this team just comes out of nowhere and sort of makes it happen, and that's exactly what they did today as well.
Yeah, and this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's take a look at exactly why we've been watching all these games, but the series leaderboard. And of course, Makers win the match point format. Excellent job.
Vegas Inferno, they're at 5th, will not do enough. It was just so
close for a couple of teams, like Bearclaw Gaming, I believe. Did they just get
pass over
match point on
Dreamfire,
that game, G-Dome? And, you know, didn't, you know, obviously get the win there, but still, you know, top... 3rd place, that's still excellent, but yeah, it's just
they would have needed a 9-point difference.
I'm just blown away with how well Makers did.
Yeah, an incredible, a couple crucial fights that just, you know, one after the other made way.
So
for
our
them
top
in that
8
lobby,
or our
but
top
having a look at
7
the
will
other
still be the
results that are
same
gonna
then.
change
Legends,
the fate
Makers,
of these
BK
teams here,
Gaming,
Lace.
SWQ, X and Y,
Vegas
Guild, and
Inferno
Dreamfire.
dropping to 5th, and Dreamfire being in 12th. That's going to make it really tough for Vegas to complete the Cinderella story that they'd kind of been building throughout today. And the other one was that Legends Gaming managed to get, I think it was something like 11 points in that final game. And maybe even 9 points, whatever it was enough to push them up just a scant few places on the leaderboard there, and probably grab them that first place overall in the split.
Well, we can only send 7 teams through. You know, we've lost a spot here in APAC-South, but that's still going to be exciting. Let's take a look.
7's still more than the region's gotten in the past.
Who's going to be heading over to Mannheim, Germany? And there we go. Oh,
Yep.
They still hold on to the top lead there, Genome. Crazy.
Oof. Not only that, congratulations to Legends Gaming, but the standings going into today, well, they stand. No one manages to creep their way up. Bearclaw and Vegas was so close.
Yeah, man.
They were, you know, I guess they would have both been cheering for Makers not to win that game, because anything could have happened in the next game to change some of these, you know, some of these situations. But Dreamfire, who obviously, you know, they missed out on the Split 1 playoffs for the first time in a long time, and then they lose their longtime leader in Roy. They just scraped through here in the 7th place.
Yeah, like, I feel like Elfish, Vegas Inferno fought so hard today. It's almost a little bit, you know, upsetting that they just didn't
All right,
get there.
chat, so there's your
What an
top
excellent
7.
game from them.
Like I said, hasn't
yeah,
changed.
Elfish, you know, our throwback king.
Dreamfire, Guild,
Dreamfire's going back
SWQ,
on
X and
stage.
Y,
I don't know how you feel
BKG,
about that. I'm
Makers,
super pumped.
and Legends.
Well, I got to be happy for them, but man, they really did not make it easy for themselves. You have to sort of mention the 7-point lead that they had going into today in the tournament standings overall, and what a difference that has actually
All right, chat,
made,
y'all already know how
all
we
things
do, man. I don't sit here around for the whole post game. Plus, I need to go get to the gym before too many people start showing up and it gets packed, even though I don't know how many people will be packing up there on the Sunday. I'm going to go get up in there, get my lift in for the day. Plus, we also have EU here in, 6 hours? 6 hours, yeah, and then obviously NA later tonight as well. So appreciate y'all coming through, pulling up, hanging out with your boy. Been a fun evening. So we'll catch y'all back for the next one, man. Don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere. Game hard and love hard, all right, y'all? We'll catch y'all later for EU, or should I say EMEA? I love y'all. Peace.